Let's do it.
I'm
Look
so
at this.
excited to do the thing! Oh my god.
The battle cry that just came from her. The excitement. Oh my god. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to FGC Woke, here with Alicia X Life is your girl, and also the wonderful, the fabulous Cuddle Core. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be hitting on into a few topics in this podcast, as we usually do. This is our 7th episode. We are so happy to have your support. It means the absolute world to us. I want to also say a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. For those of you who don't know, we actually do have a Patreon for FGC Woke. If you want to pledge like $5, $10, all that stuff, all of it really does help for us to keep content creating. You also get a bonus episode once per month that's exclusive to just those of you on Wokecast who sub to the Patreon as well.
Which we also
But we
need to
really
do.
we also need to do that one for this month, yeah. But we really do appreciate your support, and for those of you who stuck with us during our 1 month hiatus because of us being sick and because of the time off, we really appreciate you so much. So thank you. Special shout outs to you who stuck with us through that. And right now in chat, currently linked there, patreon.com/FGC Woke for the additional content and also to support this podcast. Most of all, besides all those things, though, I just want to say thank you so much for keeping an open dialogue and open mind during our conversations that we have. A lot of things that we do talk about are pretty hot takes. Some of them we don't put them as opinions, with them as goddamn facts. That's because that's who we are. So it's like, please be respectful of us. Be respectful of other people in chat. Other people in chat might vary from your own views and ideologies. That's okay too. It's talking about creating an open mind and open mentality. Be receptive to other people's ideas and thoughts. That's all we really ask out of you. And we will address if there is an issue or something, but please try to not fight amongst each other if there is a heated topic, because these are sensitive topics that we do dive into. That's the initial part in the first intro for us here on episode 7. This episode we'll be talking about how Evo was canceled. We'll talk is online and the offline of 2020 now, and Black Lives still goddamn matter. So yeah, let's get into things.
Oh baby, I'm excited. All right, so we're just gonna go straight into Evo being canceled. Sweet Jesus.
Oh my god.
Can I start with this one a little bit? Like, just. All right, all right. So I just want to discuss. Yo, if the 2020 could get any more shitty, the fact that, like, not that the 2020 was terrible all the way around, but it's the fact that, you know, Evo, the biggest fighting game tournament in America, and probably in general, probably you know, had a lot of scandal behind it. I didn't expect it. Now, I had heard that, you know, Mr. Wiz, he was rude. He's a rude person. He doesn't really hear the concerns of the people who have attended these events. Even when at the after party last year, I believe, you know, there were a lot of women who were harassed, and drinks were like roofied and things like that, and they were talking about it on Twitter. I don't know if anything ever happened, and people had tagged him a lot, but nothing ever got resolved in that way, and that really did say a lot to his character. Now, the fact that recently we find out that Mr. Wiz, like the big name behind Evo, is a pedophile. This has been kept quiet for years.
Yeah.
The FGC is known for keeping things hush hush because people are worried about if they get blacklisted or if they'll you know, lose opportunities, which I totally understand. And that's really sad that people in higher positions of power do that. They pressure people that way, or, you know, make people feel like they won't have any opportunities if people do come out and say, hey, this person did this to me. And yeah, I'll just start with that right there. I'll let you take that part.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it was really heartbreaking because, like, I think we all to a small extent knew that he was just like, yeah, a rude person, but I didn't really know anything else besides that. And it's one of those things where it's like, how can you possibly be informed if, like, no one is willing to kind of open up that whole door, like that whole doorway for to talk about it. And I guess the weirdest part for me was just the fact that when it got revealed, it was like the amount of people that supported it when it first got revealed was questionable, but after the event was canceled, then everyone really jumped on board to support it. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, damn, like how like it really reflects the colors that people have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like if you're gonna be out here being upset over this, consistently be upset over this. And this is a conversation that we have about most things where it's like, where is your consistency? Where is your consistency when it comes to caring about stuff? And why does it only matter to you when it doesn't, like when it no longer benefits you? So for example, when it came to Evo commentary, right? Before Evo got canceled, I was supposed to commentate for Soul Calibur, and I was really looking forward to it. I loved doing top 8 at the previous Evo was incredible. Like I could not believe that I got that, and then to get Evo again this year was like, holy shit, you know, that's incredible. And I felt really proud of myself. But then when those things came to light, and I first started to read up on that, and even though I was supposed to commentate, like I think it was East Coast exhibition, West Coast exhibition, and then I think the one for the UK as well. I just pulled out of all three in one fell swoop. I was like, no. And then I was also supposed to do like, you know, like they do that show like after the day wraps up.
Yes.
And then I was supposed to also do that too. But I was like, so I just pulled myself out of everything all at once, and I was like, I can't be a part of something that I morally can't stand with, right? It's one of those things where it's like, what, like no matter how much a paycheck is, it's like, are you willing to like be in that environment, to support that environment, to support those ideals? And the answer was no. Is that I'm not willing to like ever sell out for something like that. Listen, I'll sell out for a lot of things in life, right? But morally, right? No. But if you're gonna pay me money to wear your shit, like, yeah, I'm gonna sell out in that sense. But we have standards to who we are. And it was just one of those things, right? I had to pull out. And then other commentators started pulling out. Teams started pulling out. I pulled out my team even, and then
yes, you
bam.
did.
Yeah,
you were one of the first people. Also, want to say thank you so much for the sub in the chat from Naomi Full. I'm pretty sure that's the animator and the concept artist. She's like really awesome. I think that's the one. I'm pretty sure. Like I forget things. It is. Oh my god, I love her work. Anyway, thank you for the support. Anyway, I'm sorry, I had a moment. I love her work a lot. I love her artwork. And she does Netflix. She's on Netflix. I think it's a character. No, animator stuff. I think. Yeah, I've been following. Anyway, I just want to say thank you because I saw that and I'm a really big fan of hers. I apologize. Okay, my bad. Sorry guys. I apologize. Give her love in the chat. I'm so sorry. That was such a fangirl moment.
My girl got mad distracted. She got so distracted.
Like, oh my god. Okay. Anyway. All right. Yeah. Continue.
So yeah, when it comes to it's like pulling out my team, and then doing all that stuff, even though like it was uncertain. It's a very weird environment to do that in, right? So it's like, of course I talked to my players and I kept an open discussion with them first, where I was like, hey, like I don't know how you all feel morally about this. I know that some of you were going to compete in this. I want to make it very clear though, this is where I personally stand. I'm pulling out, right? And I want to make sure that you guys are all okay with me pulling you out, because I'm going to. Right? Like, I'm not gonna, that's the thing. I was gonna pull them out without warning, and then none of them knew. And then they're like, wait, what the second? I was gonna compete. What the heck, right? Like, no, I gave them all a warning. I was like, hey, I want to make sure everyone replies back to me. Cool, you guys are good? Cool. So I'm good to pull out. Like, that's the thing. Is I was gonna pull out regardless, but it's like, I'm not gonna do it without them knowing.
Right.
Ahead of time.
But it's really good, though, that you're like, hey, I can't stand behind this. I'm gonna let you all, know I'm pulling out for this reason. And obviously, if you have morals, you pretty much follow everybody's lead, and everybody was dropping. They were not participating in Evo. No players, no team organizer, team owners, no tournament organizers. Nobody was supporting it. They dropped out completely. Now I will say one thing that really was what's going on with this? I think I did read something in the chat where there was someone who I discussed for years, obviously, right, that Mr. Wiz was questionable, that he had a lot of dirt on him, soiled hands, if you will. And
yeah, I heard stuff from 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And I talked about this with Scar. Something that happens is if you don't have a unified group, tons of people backing something, especially in this FGC, nobody will bother to do the research. they'll just think you're a hater, or they'll just be like, oh, we agree, but nobody will do anything. And that's the problem. Nothing was done. Nobody tried to dig deeper. Nobody cared enough to. And even when it happened, people were like, yeah, let's get him on these charges, or like, let's get him for 15 years ago. I don't care how long ago anything is. If you were wrong and there were never any consequences, we're getting you. That's the way that should be. Consequences need to be had if we're going to change this community. And he never suffered any consequences. He didn't even think it was wrong. He got away with it. You know how... Okay, anyway. So, people were on board for getting him removed after 15 years, but they had a problem when somebody's done something 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Huh? I'm sorry, why? Anyway, I think that's a problem. Be consistent. Be consistent then if you're going to...
Right? And like that's what comes down to. Like this is what the title of the podcast should have been this time around. Be consistent. Be goddamn consistent. Okay, like, and it's like, and like we're gonna talk about Mike Z. We're gonna talk about like the Smash community. Like even though this section is technically called Evo Cancelled, we're gonna dive into all that stuff too. Like it is insane what has been going on. And I think there's one thing that Cuddle and I have talked about before in earlier podcasts that I'm going to bring up again, actually, is the fact that we talk about cancel culture versus bringing something to light, right? And giving someone a platform versus like airing out someone's closet.
Right, like giving exposure to something compared to saying like, hey, this was wrong. This needs to be, can you guys only hear me out of one ear? Ooh. Is there something wrong with me?
Is there something wrong with, like, yes?
I think there's something wrong. Oh.
You hear me out of both, but you can't hear.
Let me check my settings.
Anybody else like that? Anybody else
sorry.
like that?
I'm glad you pointed that out, Rich, because... Oh.
Did you have it shifted?
I don't know. No, it's balanced in the... Oh, hold on. Let's see if that does something. How about it? Because I did... Okay, so now? Yeah, he's right. Thank you, Rich. Because what I did was I went to my mic settings and then I switched it to the middle. I don't know why it was so low. Anyway. Thank you.
Okay, so he wasn't BSing. Okay.
No. I just hope that in post the recording is still all right.
This is the start of
sweet God.
Listen, y'all can have that like that 3-dimensional sound of cuddlecore going in and out your ear holes. Like it's fine.
Okay. Let's get back to it. But yeah, so with Evo, we kind of just... I'm glad that everybody was like, hey, we can't support this. I like how they band together, but it took a lot. Because honestly, I don't think if Corona had never happened, none of this would have ever
Oh no, none
and that bothers me. Mm-hmm. That bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. And to bring it back to cancel culture, like you said, there's such a big difference between, saying, oh my God, look at this, and, just retweeting stuff and kind of just saying, oh my God, this is absurd, blah, blah, blah. But then, or there's a difference between that and saying, hey, there's a reason why this is not okay. Something needs to be done about this. It's all about presentation and tone when you're discussing these things. Mm-hmm. And there should be nothing wrong with people discussing when something needs to be fixed. And the only way, for some reason, people will ever believe anything is if you have physical evidence. I mean, and so you have to literally retweet the ridiculous things that people say and do, or else nobody will believe no matter how many people have said or testify against someone, which is terrible. But even when you bring you have to have physical evidence. Unfortunately, I've noticed in this community.
Even then, it's like it's just such a weird scenario because, like, yeah, we're name dropping. Fuck it. Like, I don't know. There's no reason to not name drop it. It's now super out there. So it's like, even like, for example, Senpai, right? Like, there's literally stream footage of her touching up on kids, and no one stopped in the venue. Like, if you're part of the Smash community and you're in that venue, why the fuck did you not pull her off that kid? That's a real question. That's a genuine question I have, chat. Is like, if you like, it's what would you do? What would you do 101 if you saw somebody touching up on a kid, right? Hugging up on them, cuddling up to them, would you not pull them off? Would you let that shit go? Would you not question that behavior? Would you not pull them aside? That's just my genuine question. It's like, why did no one there do anything?
I don't know if I'm gonna be 100 about this. If I was at an event and I kind of just saw that, I don't even know if I know how to process it. Like, because I'm trying to process what am I seeing, the pure shock alone. And then most of the time I think people kind of just look the other way. I'm not gonna lie, I think they do, because they don't know what the heck they're seeing.
I mean, like, if you're bypassing and you just see like somebody hug somebody and stuff like that, that's fine. Like hugging somebody, even if they're younger, just like hugging them, even though it's like, especially if their parents are around. But if their parents aren't around, that's still even more like freaky, right? Because the kid in that scenario road tripped up with them, right? And
Right.
their parent wasn't there, and you felt it was okay to hug them in public, and of course have sexual relations with them outside of that. But it's like, even just let's just talk about purely venue, right? Like, we're not even talking about the sexual like conduct she had between the child and herself outside of the venue, but in the venue itself, is that if their parent isn't there, like, what are you doing? And if you're gonna ever hug, like, oh, for example, if you have like a very young Tekken fan who's like maybe 15 or something, and they want to give you a hug, ask the parent. Don't ask the kid. Be like, oh, is it okay if I hug your kid? It's like when King Ray Jr. comes up to hug me, right? I'd first look at big old King Ray, and I'm like, yo, Junior wants to give me a hug, and he's like, yeah. We all group hug together. I hug the dad, then I hug the kid, right? Like, that's the thing, is that there's a communication. There's a communication and a respect to it, because I'm not gonna hug up on people's kids. Like, I ain't out here being president kissing babies. Like, we ain't doing that shit. Like, that's not how this works, right? Like, you gotta have some sort of decorum to this, and that's the thing, is that this kid's parents weren't even around. They're 13. Their parents aren't even around. What the fuck are you doing?
There's a lot of young members of the community, especially for Smash. Because I mean, I think about like Smash is definitely like, it's very inviting for children, and so that's where a lot of them probably got their competitive start. That's what I'm actually starting to like come to the conclusion of. But as they were doing that, there were already people who were older than them, and there were a bit too many people that I heard who did things with minors, if I recall correctly, right? It was not just one person, right?
Oh, this is more than one. Yeah.
Right.
So there's one scenario, like, this is the one I don't want to name drop because it's a very weird one where there's not really evidence that kind of confirms or denies anything. It's a very weird scenario. There's one person who came out about an incident that happened with himself where a 15-year-old girl came to their house to drink with a bunch of other Smash players, and she ended up having sex with somebody, and she lied about her age.
I saw it. It's literally all over Twitter.
So I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna be hella real, okay? I don't give a fuck what y'all say about like people catfishing about young age. If they're 15, they fucking look 15. I don't care how dolled up you are. I don't care what kind of assets you have. You look 15. There's no way you can change the fact that you look 15 to look 18. That is a massive difference. Actually,
I want to talk about this for a second. Okay, hold on.
Also, bust out some ID. What the fuck?
Right. But I will say this. I do think that people overlook a lot of this stuff. I do. Doesn't make it right, but I'm just saying I think they overlook it, especially this individual. I think he did, and
I don't know, man. Like, that's the thing, right? Is I could be like, oh, they overlooked it, but like, even myself, right? When I was young, like, I was considered jailbait, and like my friends would always make me go out and like buy M-rated games for everybody because I would never get ID'd and shit like that, because like when I was like 12 and 13, I looked like I was like older. I didn't by any means look 18, but I looked old enough for older dudes to hit on me. When I was a waitress, I had a 25-year-old guy hit on me when I was 15/16, turning 16. I wasn't even 16 yet, right? Like, that's the thing, is that there's an obvious look to how young you are, even if you have assets, even if you have, you all know what I mean by assets, but like
the
that's the thing.
body.
Yeah, like if you
Yeah,
have a matured body and stuff, is that you're still of that age, and there's still like something in your brain should click. There's not like if there's no. I had no sweet clue. Like, don't pull a Shane. Even that Shane Dawson openly talked about being a pedophile. That shit's
Shane
weird.
is
I don't know how the
that's
fuck that guy's not in jail. That even like I don't. Do you guys know about that? You guys know about
there's
that?
so much. I mean, Twitter, and then the Smith family tried to, Will Smith's family try, they came for him too. I hope they have the power to take him out because he still exists in YouTube, that YouTube realm, and I don't know how. Oh, also, by the way, I get what you're saying about like the guy should have been totally aware that the girl, was younger. I just feel that sometimes people are absent-minded to it. I do. And I don't think he actually thought about it. I don't. I think
I mean, absent-minded to it, but then part 2, she was drinking. Why'd you fuck her?
That shouldn't even happen. That should not even happen. If you're drinking,
right?
No,
right?
I completely agree. Look, I'm not trying to take a side or anything. I was just saying, like, I'm trying to understand, but I've never in my conscious mind or anything, I don't mess with anything. Like, I know when somebody's younger. And everybody's always been older than me. And always at my age, Because my parents said, hey, like, you're 15. This man is, like, 19. Don't, like, there's a huge age difference between you and this person. Like, this is what could happen, And they would always make me aware of that stuff. Uncomfortable conversations to have, but very real, given my line of work. So, no, I think he should have been more alert to it. And the moment y'all start drinking, and you as a man should know, that's when stuff starts getting really, and you shouldn't. You should not. Just like
you shouldn't. And that's the thing, right? Is that like y'all are full grown, right? Y'all are full grown to know better. It's like if you are responsible enough to go buy the alcohol, consume the alcohol, y'all can keep your dick in your pants. That's just facts. And it's like, come on. And like, that's the same thing too, though, for females who get drunk and try to use it as an excuse where they sexually harass men. We've talked about this issue before with a female in the scene where she was getting belligerently drunk and sexually abusing men at events. And that's the thing, is that it's not really tied to gender, it's tied to responsibility at the end of the day, right? Is that, like, come on, man, this isn't like grade 6 PDR. We don't have to explain to you what consent is, motherfucker. You should know by now. That's crazy. That's crazy that we're still here in this day and age talking to grown ass 20-somethings about what consent is.
Some of them, I really don't think. I don't think some of them really truly know, because they've not interacted with enough people to fully understand that concept. And I remember Amanda. She has a a documentary, 19-minute documentary. Something that she mentions in the documentary is that we can't just ignore these topics because we can't just be silent about them because they do exist. But this is the FGC, and she was pretty much saying, like, we are like all people who don't just go to tournaments and then just go home. We interact with each other.
Yep.
And so that's when stuff starts happening, good and bad. Because some people don't know how to treat other people. So we start mingling, and then we start coexisting in the same space, and stuff starts happening. And that's why stuff like this comes up.
And the difference is too, right, is that like they're bringing in so many different people of different backgrounds, and some are sketchy ass backgrounds that we just don't know, right? And like that's the thing, right, is that there's like the conversation, like the 2-side conversation, 3-side conversation when it comes to like dating in the scene, right? Like people bring this shit up all the time where it's like they're a distraction, and I'm like, just because your person ain't talented doesn't mean that like just because both of y'all suck at the game doesn't mean that your partner's a distraction. If y'all were good at the game, then y'all would be good at the game. That's just the facts.
I get pressed about when people have those kinds of discussions, because there's so many of us that are living, walking, like, proof that us having significant others in the scene has never been a distraction to us. But at the same time, because we're all very understanding, and we're literal trailblazers in what we do, and we're professionals, so we understand that. It really should not. That man had to make a whole post. And then people were like, no, we don't agree with you, which is very, that's fine. But I would never want to be with someone who I felt was like, who didn't understand. I'm not saying they had to go to the event, but, or couldn't understand.
Respect your passion.
That's all, and whenever I hear about, it was specifically men, like my male friends, they'll talk. I don't know what happened. I saw something, but I don't know. Should I click it? No.
I don't know. I was curious too because I was like, I wonder what that was.
I'm gonna click it just so I know. Oh no, I'm so glad you guys did. Good thing that you did.
Good thing I'll ban that one. That was, you and I both read that comment. We're like,
I'm like, okay. Anyway, but yeah. So, I have male friends who, they say, oh god, and this, I start rolling my eyes at some point because I'm like, do you all not, guys in the chat as well, do you guys not see this stuff when you date women or whoever? Do you not see this when, you'll be dating your girl, your guy for a couple years, or maybe like a couple months, and then you realize they don't like gaming because they see it as childish. How was this missed? How was this missed?
That's a good ass question. Like that's the thing, right? It's like if you're dating somebody and gaming's a massive part of your life, you're a streamer, a content creator, you just really enjoy gaming.
And you travel, and you've met friends through this.
Continue. Yep. Oh, and then they're like, "Oh, get the fuck off the video game."
Right.
That they are not for you. They are not for you.
How have you missed this? Like, there's such a oh my god, there's such a huge difference between someone going, oh yeah, I like Tekken, and they never really sit with you, play with you, ask anything. And then there's they end up really just hating the game and just, which I have a friend who, she said F Tekken, she said fuck Tekken. She told my friend, he said that. He said like a couple of his exes really didn't understand it, and he was barely in the game like that. And they still felt like he was spending more time with the game than them, even though he wasn't. He barely played. Because, there was that tenseness because even when he did play, it was like his attention was elsewhere. I'm like, look, y'all really gotta make sure, if you're gonna get with someone, make sure they really understand what the hell you're doing. Your passion.
My real question is, though, for those people who are against gaming that hard, what hobbies do they have that they see as so superior? They're like, oh man, my books be hitting different. And then they play Last of Us, like the first one, and they're like, come on, dude. Come on. Come on. They can be moved.
Watching, I don't know. Skating?
They move just easily. Like, oh, they like watching paint dry. And like, oh, that's their passion. Bitch, you better get off the Xbox so you can watch paint dry with me, motherfucker. I swear to God right now. Like, oh my God, so stupid.
And and it's like, that's fine if you mess with that, but you can't shame your significant other for loving something like gaming. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean y'all can't still respect each other, Like, my sister's boyfriend, he loves, like, tinkery kind of stuff, like the watches and, like, the knives. That's a thing. And I told my sister, I said, what the hell?
He an old man? Is he?
He's 25, and he's like an old man because of his father. But she said, you know what? She's like, I don't understand any of it. She's like, but you know what? I still support it, and I'm glad he likes it, And she asked with that hard, and I'm like, see, that's what it's about. You don't have to understand everything, but I said like he's out here killing babies. I mean, that's not a hobby. Anyway,
technically it is a hobby, but a good hobby, no.
Right. But you get what I'm saying. So it's like,
why
why
was it the first thing that came to your head in that conversation?
The worst thing possible. I just thought the worst thing possible.
We went from not liking video games to killing babies. I don't know how we got here.
I'm sorry. Look, all I'm saying in regards to the FGC, people like, look, if you're supporting the FGC and you're saying don't date in the FGC, I'm sorry, gaming is such a big part of your life. You just sound like you're bitter. I'm just gonna like.
And if you think that like gaming is taking away from your relationship, this doesn't matter what gender you are, by the way, chat. We're not saying like, oh, women should be like, no, this is any gender, right? If you feel like gaming is taking away from your relationship, that's a serious conversation that you need to have with your partner about respect and understanding time like evaluation, right? It's like, for example, how about you both game together? Oh, you're not into gaming? Well, there's actually like some mini game stuff that you might be into that you could try to like gateway them into it, right? And even if it's not like, even if they really don't like gaming, okay, have dedicated time for non-gaming activities together, right? You don't need to have like every time they're on the game or something that like, oh shit, like get off the game. It's like, no, it's have your dedicated time. And if they're doing that during your dedicated time, that's a reason to be upset. If you see them on the game having fun, oh, they've been playing for 8 hours straight, cool. Because that's their time. You didn't have dedicated time before this, so it's fine.
I totally agree. Having that dedicated time, is really important. Even for those of us who eat, sleep, and drink FGC, we still have to make time for our significant others too, because they do the same stuff we do. A little different in some fields, but they still do the same stuff we do. I literally have to plan out like Scar and I we plan out like little date nights. So we play Cuphead together. We just did Resident Evil. We watch movies on Netflix. Because our games are different. Our games are very different. Kinda. No, they're really different. But
MK's a whole different boat, baby. They be pushing buttons like no tomorrow. It's crazy.
I noticed. I'm like, this is very, very American.
They press so much shit. They just keep pressing shit constantly. It's weird.
Dude. I've never seen a game where you have to mash so much. But I mean, it looks fun. It looks fun.
Listen, it's so much fun.
It does,
but it's like you know us, right? We're like methodical. We're like blah blah blah. This shit's like when in doubt, down jab, down jab. What the fuck, down jab? Okay, cool. Oh, shimmy out, down jab. What? Why am I constantly pressing shit? There's like the combos. There's no timing. You just go and then you just do all the inputs. I'm like, what the fuck is? I don't.
It's a new game, but I think it's really cool that you took it on and you're learning it. I think that's really really cool though. Like it's mad cool, but it is very different. And yes, Rich, American is the only way I can explain it because I don't know any other type of fighting. Because all the other fighting games are like from different countries. Usually in Japan, they got Tekken on lock. Like yeah, I'm being biased, but like MK is so American. But they the way they do their character models. That's the most accurate thing I've seen in a long time because it's American and we have a melting pot here. So obviously, I would hope they do that right. Tekken, not so much. But they're not American, so it's a little questionable sometimes. But anyway, the point being, yeah, it's important to plan that time. It's cool to take that time away if you're because if you're always playing fighting games, it's cool that you and your significant other can just like play like something like Cuphead and.
Yeah, man, like I've been doing that recently too, where it's just like playing things that are ones where I can't get mad. It's like things that involve teamwork.
Right. Somebody mentioned Fall Guys. I thought that was a cute little like that's a cute team game. You also mentioned something too. It was like an animal.
Super Animal Royale.
Yes. I actually have it in my queue, and I'm gonna buy it.
It's like you don't have to buy. You can just get it for free, and then if you play it through Discord, you can just play it through for free through Discord.
I'm definitely gonna play it. I'm excited because it's fun stuff to do together. So like we just gave like 80,000 solutions to your can't date the FGC from. You can't say we didn't tell you.
In my relationship, I main jungle, but I play support and league just so that I can be a good girlfriend. This is what it's come down to in my life, Chad. Okay, this is what we do. We put an effort into these relationships. Okay, I fucking hate supporting, but. Right? We gotta keep it healthy. We gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta grin and bear it. I always jungle. I'm a one trick. And I'm like
you said so. I hate that shit. But thank you for the raid, Karupu. Welcome from Karupu's chat to FGC Woke Podcast, The Return.
Yeah. Man, So that's about relationships, keeping shit healthy, blah blah blah. Especially when it comes to like the FGC, finding relationships in the FGC, But when it comes to talking about consent, right? Like kind of bringing it back to our main point, was talking about consent, talking about the shambles of the Smash community right now, the shambles of the FGC right now, is that this is a good thing. And I know that sounds weird, but when you gut out all this bullshit and like this is something that Okay, like I want to talk a little bit about this, Cuddle, because you and I talked about this a little bit. Y'all ready for the tea? Do we got any Cuddle sipping emotes? Like we must have a Cuddle
I
sipping
need to
emote.
get one made. You know, I have an ass emo, but I don't have a cuddle.
Can we just give me a bunch of Cuddlecore ass emotes, please? Can we just give me the twerks? Okay, because I'm about to spill tea. I'm about to spill tea, so we gotta drop it like thoughts, okay? So
you know, that ass is just like the way Reds just made that ass look. I said, can you make it very pronounced? She said, yeah.
You said cream that bitch.
That bubble butt. Got it.
so like on the real, like Cuddle and I recently, you're gonna see this air in September. We were on a panel for PAX. And we're gonna be on like it's the panel is a super cool idea. I'm happy to have been a part of it to an extent. Right? Like, would I ever do it again? Fuck no. I mean, if I had someone else doing it, I don't know. I don't mean to shit on the guy. I just think that if you have pre-made questions and then the conversation goes a different direction, change your questions.
There was a lot that was concerning about that. Also, I learned that there were obviously there are other panels at PAX, but there was another one that I think we would have been way more suited for.
What was it?
It was like, I think it was about black women voices in gaming.
What the fuck were we in that one?
I think somebody else was in charge of it, and maybe we weren't picked. Whatever, fine. But I think a black woman was in charge of it. I think, and it's only so many could be picked.
Oh, I mean, listen, as long as we got a panel, man, like that's what matters. Right. It don't need to be us, but I mean, it's just that like,
right.
I mean, getting into. Do you want to talk about this? I don't know if you're comfortable. Are you comfortable talking about this?
Yes, as long as it stays civil, which we always are civil.
Yes, which we always are civil. I
think as long as we don't drop anybody's name.
I'm not gonna name drop. I mean, I'm gonna name drop someone who I want to talk about in a positive light from it, though.
Perfect.
I want to talk about Ultra David was also on the podcast, and you're gonna notice when you watch the podcast how much I appreciate him during that podcast. He did a fantastic job, and I couldn't have been like if he wasn't in that podcast. I think I would have actually like backed out in the middle of it because I was so frustrated. And it was such a weird thing because it was supposed to be because the whole topic of the podcast was supposed to be like the state of the FGC in relation to what happened with Evo's cancellation, with what happened to the Smash community. We're supposed to talk about all of this stuff, right? The stuff that we just talked about, right? We talked about shedding light. We talked about how like even like for example, people who were idolized in the scene are now being kind of taken off their pedestal. And like Ultra David brought up this beautiful point. He's like one of the big issues of this whole thing is that people are even put on a pedestal in the first place.
He said, "Stop having heroes. Stop having these." Yeah. He said it like kind of like that, and I said, "Damn, that's not a bad point." I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking up to people, but to the point where it becomes like you will cover their ass, even though they need to take accountability. That's when it becomes a problem. The over idolizing of different people within the scene. No, for sure. The panel was very like. I think it could have been aimed in a better direction. It had good intent, but what happened was the questions start to fall very flat. They were very superficial. They were very like at the surface, like very simple questions that really didn't get to the heart of us being able to change the state of the FGC, like really getting to the nitty gritty of it. Am I hitting something here? Because I really feel like that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that my biggest issue was the fact of the final question, right? Where like that's where like you could see my face's reaction when they asked the question, and I was like, and they had me answer it first, and I was like, what?
Was it the
so they asked us because after we just tore down about how we don't want heroes in the FGC, like looking up to people in a respectful way is one thing. Like idolizing somebody's another. Like we shouldn't have heroes in the scene. Like we should be treating people like people. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. Because when you idolize people and you put them on pedestals like that, you actually end up screwing people over who want to come out and feel safe. Because they no longer feel safe because that person's now a powerhouse in that sense. Be a powerhouse for your gameplay, be a powerhouse for your content creation. Don't let people like if you do something wrong, don't hold you accountable for your actions, right?
Right.
We talked about that. That was the topic. And then the final question that got asked to us was, who do you think's a hero in the scene?
Oh. Yeah, and wasn't that weird? Yeah, I mean, I mean, you still gave your lovely answer. I still gave mine. Everybody did, and then David said, nah, F that cut. And then he said, I don't agree with this. There should be no heroes because then this will happen. And which, you know, you were like, yeah, and you were feeling it. And he made a great point about it. I do feel like, I think when you were talking about, you know, when people are over idolized and then, you know, other people feel unsafe because, you know, these people are getting protected even though they're like, a lot of them are abusing their platform.
Yep.
What happens is, I've talked about this too. We both talked about this. Tons of people have. It becomes this unsafe space. Whether it's something that people have said or done, people don't even feel comfortable coming out about stuff because they don't feel like anybody will
support them
at all. I think that's the wrong Discord. I think that's the wrong Discord. That's my Discord. You put your Discord in there. The FGC Woke one. Because somebody,
what?
Oh no, I said can you put the FGC Woke Discord link in the chat? Just because like it's the one that's in there is based on the command for my Discord. It's the wrong one.
Oh, I thought that was only going to be for our Patreon subs.
I think we should still tell them, like, you know, like for those who sub, right? At least like.
So oh yeah, when people sub to our Patreon, they get the link through a message.
Okay, so they're fine. Okay, that's fine.
Oh yeah, they're fine. It automatically links, so it'll prompt them.
Big bad. Okay, my bad.
It takes care of us. We good.
Okay, good. So back to what I was saying. My bad. So yeah, so the space becomes hella unsafe. Like that's why we have safe spaces, because people are literally getting protected. People with platforms and followings are getting protected for no reason, only because they were part of the old boys club, and because nobody's holding them accountable for anything, and because they're over idolized. So it's become very, very unsafe. Like, and it makes it harder.
Sorry.
I'll wait. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm lagging, but you can keep talking actually, because I'm just wait till it's.
Oh, okay. But yeah, what happens is
I might disconnect and rejoin intentionally and see if it fixes it.
Okay.
Okay, be right back.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Just go back.
Are we good? This is good? Hello?
Yeah, you look great.
Oh, great.
Happy.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was just the East Coast server was bad, so I just changed servers to see if it worked. Cool, okay.
Perfect. But yeah, all I was saying was just, and it makes it 10 times harder for the people that are targeted by those people that are protected by clout. It makes it 10 times harder for the people who are trying to do good things. Especially when people target certain groups of people, I noticed, and it just makes the FGC less inclusive in that way, because nobody's nobody's checking anybody.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah, and it's like that's the thing, right? Was that I wish that the panel talked about what I was told it was going to be talked about, you know, because when I went in, I thought that it was purely going to be about 1 hour about us talking about the state of the FGC. I didn't know it was going to be talking about online versus offline. I thought we were just talking about what has happened within the past, like a brief update and discussion about what happened with the Smash community, what happened with Evo, what happened with Meg Z, right? That's what I thought it was.
We didn't talk about any of that.
We didn't talk about any of it. So I was like, why did we invite me? Genuinely, because you could have asked these questions to literally anybody in the scene.
I do wonder if they needed women and women of color on the panel.
You know, I didn't want to say it, right? But during it, like, you saw me message you during it, where I was like, I think they didn't even the people who chose us never even watched our podcast before. I think they just saw that we have a podcast with 2 people of color, so they chose us.
That's what it felt like a little bit, you know. And it's not always like that, but I did kind of feel like the token black women. Let's you know, put them on the show. It felt weird.
I mean, it also got weird when, like, we entered into the call, and I'm not going to name drop the person, but one of the people, when we entered into the call, like, the first thing they said was, like, oh, of course the women show up early, blah, blah, blah.
That's weird.
And, like, already, like, making weird comments about, like, talking about our gender, which, by the way, I'm gender fluid, so fuck you. But, like, right, it was just very weird, because, like, he kept saying, oh, the girls and oh, the women, whenever he referred to both of us, instead of addressing us by who we are. And when he addressed everybody else by their names.
It was odd. It was very odd. I was feeling it. I was trying to just get through the podcast.
Yeah, I was trying to get through it. I guess I didn't expect us. I didn't expect it because especially with like how woke the topic would have been, like what we were told the topic was going to be. I expected, I don't know, a level of civility that we just weren't given, and it's like, damn. And at one point, I call out somebody on it during the cast, which you guys are gonna like during the panel, because I couldn't. I tried, so I bit my tongue for so long during that chit chat. It was an hour long, okay? And at one point, someone said something wrong, and I finally corrected them because I got frustrated, you know, and like. And it's like I don't like it's not I wasn't trying to be and I tried to be like play it off like nicely after because I didn't want to be a dick, especially like in a PAX panel, right? But it's also like holy fuck. Like listen to the conversation we're having and don't give a random input that doesn't add value to this conversation and is also incorrect based on what we're talking about. Right? And it's like it sounds super weird because you guys haven't heard the context of the panel yet, but once it is released in September, once you do see it, please like hit us up on Twitter. Be like, yo, I saw exactly what y'all talking about. Damn. Like, just hit us with a little bit of reassurance because holy hell. And the worst part was Cuddle and I couldn't hide our faces. Like,
no, you said we were mean mugging, and I said, crap, I
we
couldn't
were
hide it.
mean mugging every time this person, like the people that like, you know, were saying the whack shit talked.
Like,
Cuddle and I both mean mugged, and every time the like Ultra David talked, we both smiled. So it's clear. That, like,
and we're just like,
yep, we're like, it wasn't even that Cuddle. You were like.
I was trying so hard not to, you know, because I'm trying to listen, but I'm like, I really am just
like, don't want this. Like, it's so.
I just don't want this.
Oh my god! What would be great though is that we take that and then we like do a live roast of the.
Actually, I wanted to do that. Not like not as a roast, but like let's critique it. With the undertone of a roast.
Critique the panel once it's live.
Oh baby, I'm about to like. Because I felt it was weird. I didn't know. I at the time I didn't know what I was feeling, but I was like, "Ooh, I feel something." But with that discussed, let's go to our next topic.
Yeah,
online equals our offline. Oh snap! As I go to the next thing.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Oh my
God. So as you guys know, especially with everything being canceled right now because of COVID. And because of Mr. Wiz thing.
Right.
I was like, did I mention that part? Yeah, okay. But, you know, since everything is canceled right now, we're focusing mostly online events. And this is something that I would actually love to discuss during this segment is when it comes to patching games now, right? When we've been patching games and we've been getting updates for games, updates for characters, balance patches, right? It's all been based around mostly like offline, mostly competitive play, mostly when it comes to these sorts of things. Will we start to see things catered for online play? And now that's something that'll be very interesting because who knows what's going to happen within this next year? What do you think, Cuddle?
I think that fighting games that were generally played offline, you know, because we had all the tournaments and stuff, they're gonna have to now start tending more to their online parts, like online the online factors of their game that they were neglecting, because we all know that a lot of that stuff was getting cast aside or was not being addressed for a long time, many things, but because the state of the world and the fact that I'll talk about Tekken for a second, and the fact that with Tekken we are I think Tekken in terms of fighting games, you know, they made so much of their money and so much of their exposure off of those offline tournaments, the sponsors, the everything, the tournament, the hype, the players, by the way, the players especially, because we make the hype, and the commentators. So anyway, with all of that, so with all of
like some people real bit.
I just need to talk. Okay, but with all that being said, now that we don't have offline, now companies are really gonna have to start, and Namco's really starting to like tend to the online things, like skipping being able to skip matches, which is definitely to like wrap it up, you know, so we have to wait for the timer. That, talking about a better online experience, if you look at the Tekken Season 4 trailer, they said better online experience. I said really? So I'm hoping to roll back or something, but
want to be able to snuff out Wi-Fi players and decline that shit, dude. I don't want to play no Wi-Fi player.
That as well. That's huge. That is so important. So, I think that because online is going to probably be here for a while in regards to tournaments and stuff like that, so that fighting game companies still, keep their audiences intrigued and interested in their game, they really have to start getting creative with what they're providing for us now in regards to content, online experience, and actually hearing us in regards to those concerns. Because I really don't think they were listening to us before, because nothing ever changed. Because in that in-between time, we still had to use online to train sometimes.
I think it's one of those things too, where it's like developers, when changing elements of their games, has been very interesting about which sample group they refer to, right? It's like, because a lot of the time where, I guess I'm gonna use example of Caliber, right? Is that Caliber and the way they buff and nerf characters is such a roll of the dice. It's eerie. It's so eerie. I don't know how you can look at a character like Zas and not just be like, huh, he seems weirdly too good, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about things in his kit. If we say these things aloud, does it sound crazy? Right? That's my baseline thing. It's like, how come people don't say half they shit out loud and talk? If you say the words into existence, does it sound crazy? If the answer is yes, don't put it in the game, right? I'm just
it should be that easy. It should be that easy.
Right? It's like, remember when Kazuya, when they made his hell sweep track both sides?
I literally talked about that recently, and I said, and the only reason why that existed is because the person who did it was a Mishima specialist. I said, dog, they can play the game then. Go to a tournament then if you want to show people the specialties of Mishimas. But do not give them something like that, because the whole thing is that they're supposed to have weaknesses. Every character has there has to be. I always kind of think about it as every character has to have a balance system. There's something about them there's a couple things about them that are really strong, but to balance that out, we have a few weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Mishima's, the wave dash, and people being able to sidestep left so that they can evade some of those things like the hell sweep, and the wave dash is literally to realign them with their opponent so that they're always right in front of them. So of course the hell sweep needs to be stepped, because you're evading certain options, because the wave dash is it's kind of like it's their advanced movement, so you use a step as a way to deal with that stuff. But
the mid contained, so it's there is something to check them for if they sidestep. So it's like, you need to keep that in mind, as it doesn't there's just, why create a true 50-50? Why create a true 50-50? Does it make sense?
Right. It really all it took was one thing to literally boost them up a tier. I also feel like there's somebody was in my chat and they used to work on the Tekken, I think it was the Tekken 6 or Tekken 5 testing team. It's really cool. He's giving me all this insight on what they used to do, and I think he was saying it wasn't they focused a lot on it was either they played a lot to see what worked, but I think he said they weren't really testing certain things. Certain things weren't tested, but they were playing a lot. I can't really fully explain it, but certain things weren't addressed. So what happened was, I think that's why we got certain things. And this was before we got this was in 5 and 6, when we didn't have patches.
Yeah. I hear your parents in the background. Are they good?
They're fine. My dad is just loud. And anyway, but yeah, no. So that kind of makes sense to me, in regards to Fakuram and Leroy, and how they did not feel tested at all. They kind of just said, okay, what kind of character can we pump out? And it doesn't feel like they learned any lesson from any of the past Tekkens. So what's happening is the online experience for people is really not the best. I don't feel like that's actually contributing to it. The fact that people are not certain things are not getting tested right away, like characters. So when people are playing in these online tournaments, people are now just making Leroy and Fakuram unplayable. They're banning them.
I actually banned him. Yeah, I banned him from my weeklies.
I respect that until they could patch the guy.
I banned him after they put their patch out to fix him because I was playing and I phased through his torso on a spring kick. His torso. It wasn't even his legs anymore. I spring kicked and I went through his body.
I'm sorry. What?
And I was like, oh, he's banned. He's banned. He doesn't have a hitbox. They literally were like, oh, a few more lows will hit his legs, but his midsection, fuck it. Like, what? Like, how?
It's crazy. And that's the whole thing. Like, this could have been easily tested. This could have easily been tested if you just would have done it pre-release. But they don't choose to do that. So now what we have is tons of people complaining reasonably about these characters. They're being used in tournaments. Nobody's really using the other characters. Like, there's nothing diverse going on at all. But now, since people are, now that Pakram's a little fixed, he's still kind of and people are banning.
I don't fixed, right? Like, I phased through his body. I don't know how fixed that's gonna be.
like the fact that even his height and all that. But I think they're really starting to realize that online is going to be our offline for a bit, and so they're really starting to tend to these matters, and they're hyping the people up. Because this is I was talking with Anakin about this too. The tournaments you start to miss them. You start to miss the offline aspect, the charm of it, and we don't have that right now. An online, I'm sorry, I'm the last person who's trying to deal with an online tournament. I don't care if it's PC or PS4. It's different. It's too much. And I really appreciate the fact that people can even run them, because it still keeps the drive alive. And now what needs to start happening is money. And I hate to bring this into this conversation, but I need to talk about the players. Players need to actually be getting paid more for what they're doing. Because that's not happening. And players are getting like chump change for getting in top 8s. And what's happening, I also seen though, is a lot more money is actually being put in that top 8. And I think that's because we don't there's a lot more money that has to be put into things when we go offline because of venues and stuff, which I know was also discussed in that facts panel. But but now we don't have to deal with all those other aspects. And I think that's why we're also able to, like, there's more money being dished out, and I hope that doesn't go away. I hope that same concept can still be kept around and respect the players more. Anyway, I'll let you go on because I just want to really get that out there.
Yeah. It's all good. Like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's heartbreaking because, like, competitors put in so much time and effort, and when you don't balance your game properly, when you don't fix characters that have clearly weird characteristics that just don't coincide with your game well, you're now creating an environment of unwatchable events, of unfun, like, gatekeeping ass characters that keep people from joining into the game. And that's what gives you more money, is people buying the game still. And there's one thing that always bothered me, which actually I talked about with Rich the other day too, was they gutted Maxi. Right, they nerfed that character so badly, and then he kept going like, "Why?" And then I explained to him, like, this is something that happened to, like, this happened to Eddie, this happened to Maxi. It's like when you brought him into these new games like Tekken 6, it's like Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur 6, is that they want people to buy the game, right? What's the most frustrating thing in the game? Not
matchups.
knowing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Matchups. Not knowing how to deal with a mix. So what do? They just scaled the hell out of Eddie's damage, made him negative on everything, because they were like, listen, now when you get mixed, but that's the thing, right? It's supposed to help those players who are new into the scene, they want people to buy the game. If you get cooked by an Eddie player, right, like, you don't want it to feel discouraging, like, you have to learn the matchup. They want you to still be able to mash buttons and buy the game. Right. Same thing for when it's a Maxi player, right? They're like, oh, Maxi's too overwhelming. Oh my god, he has all these tools. Oh my god, he has Heaven's Guard. Calm the fuck down. Like, Heaven's Guard only can be done in anticipation of understanding what you're going to do to be placed properly. That's the only way you could actually execute a Heaven's Guard well. Wait, so it's your fault for fucking being predictable. It's a weird thing.
I have a question. Heaven's Guard, is that his guard impact from his nunchucks?
Yeah, so what happens is that it's a meter burned version of of a guard impact. So it's like what happens is even if it's back turned, even if it's on his side, even if it's on his head, like it will GI it all.
That's just
right?
so cool.
It's cool. It's cool. And he
But
he does it in
people-
between stances and stuff. So it's like it's really sick to watch. The whole screen flashes like green. It's really sick.
That's so
right?
cool. But what happened is people didn't want to learn the other. They didn't want to learn how to deal with Heaven's Guard. Is that what I'm understanding? They didn't want to.
So instead of just nerfing it once or twice, they nerfed it so hard that someone can re-GI back off of it and kill you for it.
Sorry,
For
what? But
Heaven's Guard.
that's a trait that this character has.
So
That's
it's like
something special.
he loses his win condition. He loses his win condition. What the fuck? Who thought? Like, but that's because they were like, people are complaining about it. We got to change it, right? And then the same thing for the characters that, like, his entire like he is such a trash character. Sorry, Rich. Sorry, I heard a sound that it freaked me out. Oh, it was my wheel. I have a spinning wheel.
I was talking about earlier, but you were just so deep in your tweet. You ignored me.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I was talking about your wheel and how
I have this.
Right? What is that? I really like this.
You can spin the wheel
of the day?
Pardon?
Is it a Twitch wheel of the day? I like that.
Yeah, it's people when they sub and stuff, they can spin the wheel. So
I like that.
but yeah, so basically, when it came to where was it? Oh yeah, so they gutted the character completely.
Right.
So that it was easier for people to handle.
And now nobody uses Maxi like that, right? I'm guessing nobody really uses it.
But yeah, but no one wants to learn. Listen, learning the Maxi matchup is insane, but playing the character is also insane.
Mm-hmm.
Give some reward for learning such a difficult character and understanding how to use his mechanics at an efficient level.
Like Law.
Like Law, because like there's DSS cancels, like there's actual execution.
What if they had taken that from him? What if they made DSS one of the most hardest things to do? It gave you no reward. It gave you nothing because people bitched and moaned that much about the character. Even though you can fight the character like no problem. Like if you he's such a straightforward matchup. So like it's complex to use the character. That's why a lot of people don't use him. But in the best hands, he is phenomenal. If they nerfed him like that, like he would have nothing. Like that's something where you can learn that matchup. I'm sorry. I agree. Maxi, same thing. You can learn the matchup, but people didn't want to learn. They want their hand held all the time.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, right? Is that like I even see tweets now, people who are trying out Caliber, who are like, "Why is Maxi always plus?" Bitch, he's not. Why are you pressing in the middle of a string? Why are you pressing in the middle of a string? What are you doing? Right? It's like, why are you stupid? Why are you pressing after a break attack? Break attacks are basically almost always plus, if not always plus. Why are you pressing? Like you're literally in this animation of woo.
It's like they
and
don't
you're
understand. They don't
like
understand.
fuck you. Be smarter. Like I don't understand. Like that's the thing, right? Is like people don't like they're entering into the game and they're like, and it's like, come on. Like the one of the coolest things about Soul Calibur is like every character is so unique. And when they brought old characters into the new one, like even Cassandra versus Sophidia, there's a massive difference. There's a massive difference in their gameplay style. And that is the coolest thing in the world, right? They really revamp and care about these characters. And it's like they're so individualized that learning the matchup is pretty important. But Calibur is easier on entry level than Tekken is. So why the fuck are you dumbing it down that much for a character?
Thank you, because I completely agree. Soul Calibur is way easier to get into at the entry level. You know, of course, at high level, anything is super hard, right?
Oh, I think they're both there. I think they're both very on par for top level.
They are. But you know, like entry level, that's where you want to get them, right? That's where you want to get your money, because like that's where you're gonna get.
Exactly.
And so you make it inviting for newcomers. And I think that it's less daunting when you look at their move list, when you look at like the aesthetics of the game. I think Soul Calibur is such a friendly, like introductory to like fighting games.
Into 3D mechanics, to understanding what an anti-sidestep left sidestep move is, like understanding what kills what sidestep, like understanding how horizontals work in general when you literally have a horizontal button, stuff like that is a very friendly way for people to understand and get used to a three-dimensional game. Then when they switch over to games like Tekken, which is very archaic in its movement style for Tekken 7, shout out to Tekken 7 being like molasses, right? Like it's hard.
I didn't ask for this kind of movement.
We are literally going through molasses in this game, right? But it's
I
like
miss
that's the
tech.
beautiful part about switching between the games is that people who come from Tekken into Caliber, it's easier because you're so used to being confined, and when you can finally move around, you're like, oh shit, you're just running around like crazy, right?
You
And the
sidestep
people from Caliber
everything.
into Tekken, they're like, what the fuck is this?
No,
Like,
I completely agree. It's way like I even felt that way about five, and I didn't even like five like that, but I played Soul Calibur 5 like a madman. And the movement
mhm.
is just down, down, up, up so fast. Uh, and thinking about that in comparison to how Tekken 7 is, Tekken 7 is definitely slower. That's why and I hate to say it, but having a character that has advanced movement, I'm lucky because Elisa has very advanced movement. And it kind of, people don't understand that it's kind of, to kind of bring it to the point of, how people don't lab stuff, they kind of just complain like on Twitter, like Rich was saying. um, People need to understand their options when it comes to being able to move. And yes, Tekken 7 did kind of slow down a little bit, but you can still move. And I have whole clips of me walking 3-hit strings with a male character who doesn't have the best movement. You can do it too. You can step, you can move. But the thing is that people don't understand that there's a time and a place. And so for us, what happens is it might not be Heaven's Guard, but it's for us, it's movement. And the fact that like you don't always have to swing at range 0, you can backdash, you can sidestep, block, sidestep, block. It's not always the point of walking something, but it's yet walking is a commit. I don't think there's anything wrong with if you are walking, it should be a commit because that's an animation where you're fully walking like 180 on someone, which means you had a hard read. So that is a risk because something could clip you.
Yeah.
If I have a read on something that somebody's doing, or like I make a second, like a follow up move whip, I backdash it. But I feel like Tekken, people will keep on talking about its movement, but I still think for the most part it is slowed down a little bit. But I still think it's like pretty decent.
I think my issue with Tekken 7's movement would be the fact that, like when it comes to like KBDing and stuff like that, I think it's like, for example, like Zafina, Alyssa, even Eddie, right? Like all 3 of those characters have like those godlike backdashes known to man, right? But when it comes to like sidestep movement, it like no matter what character it is, it just feels very archaic, right? It's very difficult. To a degree, I understand it. To a degree, I enjoy it because of its consistency level,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a very consistent to it when it comes to the 3 dimensions. But it's also it feels very confined, right? It feels like, how do I put this? It feels like the happy medium between what DOA sidestep movement is versus Caliber's,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
So
they
it's like
kind
the
of.
third
Yeah.
DOA, let's be real. DOA's sidestep, when it's not relevant unless you're doing a sidestep move.
Virtual Fighter tries to make their sidestep relevant too. It's the same thing. It's not really a sidestep. It's kind of like a side dash and then like nothing. Yeah,
Mhm.
but in Tekken, it's the
What's up?
step is so
Grab
important.
this damn cord. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Lord have mercy. Okay. But yeah, it's like exactly. It's like there's because like that's the thing, right? It's like DOA is technically a 3D fighter, and I love DOA. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just that when it comes to spacing, when it comes to movement, is that it's completely different. That it's like the total opposite end from what Caliber is. Meanwhile, Tekken's in the happy in between.
Right. Now, it used to not be, it was more movement based than anything. And now it's still movement based, but it's less steppy and it's more backdashy. And so it's become slower paced in that way, for sure. You'll sometimes find, that's why you'll find people sometimes backdashing and dashing forward and back more than you will side to side because there's too many inconsistencies also with hitboxes and things too.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things too where it's like I like even myself, I find myself constantly when I'm playing both games is that like even in Soul Calibur, you can actually create backdash in the game. Fun fact is that it's not something that's like
So cool.
used all the time, but it's used to a degree, right?
Same
Like it is
input?
used. Yeah, same input. Yeah, it's like actually used. So the thing is, like when it comes to it, is that I'll use it in scenarios where it's like, oh, they're gonna like do a 2A on me or something. I want to just like back out and deal with the option, like because I don't know, like if he's gonna try to full crouch me and then go in for something, or like what's gonna happen. Especially like in scenarios where somebody goes into full crouch, he goes for full crouch mix up in any character. I always am just like, I'm gonna outspace this motherfucker. I'm playing killer, right? Like it's gonna be okay, right? That's my gameplay. That's my strategy half the time, and it does me pretty good. Like, It's like, why go play the mind games and bullshit in range 1 and 0 when I could just back my ass out to 3 and fucking blah.
True, exactly. And honestly, like sometimes that's the way it has to be played, because of the way the movement is now. But if they're and if we're even gonna appreciate the movement like that anymore, online needs to be amped because people can't even move. Like even moving changes.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like, oh my, like those like the certain setups where you have to press forward and back in Tekken when you want to block, when you have like the frame perfect blocks, and you need to do that in order to get the animation correctly. Which I don't know if some of y'all don't know that, but that's actually a thing in Tekken, so you need to learn that if you don't know that by now. Like that's just Tekken, baby. Like you like if anyway. So it's like that shit in online though, you're fucked. You're fucked because when you press forward, it commits to the forward, and you're like, oh yeah, great. Yeah. Like this is. It went from being a perfect block into being, oh, this is where I am now. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm launched? Cool. I just wanted to make sure. Like
yeah, like no, it's certain things become way harder to do, like punishing, moving, and stuff online. Like stuff like what we just discussed is so yeah. Namco, all the fighting games are really gonna have to like step their game up on this, because if we're going to be having online circuits and tournaments like Capcom, we gotta work some things out so we don't have people calling each other bitches and whatnot.
Listen, I'm gonna still call y'all a whole ass bitch if y'all hit me with like that motherfucking
you saw on Twitter
in a 2-bar. No,
that was crazy. That man said, "Yo, like he accused somebody of a flag or something and called that man a whole bitch." I said, "Woo!" I said, "This is Capcom getting heated. This is a reality show." I said,
"Oh my god, yeah, yeah, it was Punk, wasn't it?" Yeah. He called like Alex Myers a bitch.
I was like, "Okay, guys, okay." I said, "Let's calm down. Like it's not even that serious, you know. I get, we're competitive people, but what happened after that? Tensions are high, obviously." Tensions obviously high, but how do you feel like he should have been sent to the losers bracket automatically, or do you think he should have been left off with a warning?
With a warning? No, put him in losers. That's what I'm saying. What heroes, like, right? Like, think about it. Heroes, right? Is that if you put people like that on a pedestal and you don't hold them accountable, they're setting an example for people in the community. They're being highlighted. They have literally 2,000 people watching them while they're doing this shit, and then they say that stuff? No, that's your game. Understand? And when you put repercussions like I'm a level with y'all, right? When you put him into losers and you do all that stuff, how much publicity did they give the game?
A lot. Also,
they gave a lot of publicity, right? I may not even organically from like 2D fighters, but listen, your girl was all right up on that shit. Why? Because it drew more attention to it. So, from even a marketing standpoint, why wouldn't you?
But I hate to be that person. But I wish he wouldn't have said that part. I wish he wouldn't have said, "Yo, Mars is a bitch." You wanna know why? Because all it takes for us as a people is one thing, and he has a platform, and he's like one of the best players in Street Fighter, and he's a black man. You know that people are gonna have a field day with that. Do not make it harder for us. I'm just saying, think about what you're doing sometimes before you do this stuff, because what happens is like, people are, there's that stereotype that black people are aggressive. Jeez, Punk, you're living up to it. Don't, like, and he's known to rage. I know this because I've seen his tweets and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, it's not even that serious.
And that's like the one thing too, right? Where it's like, when talking about all this stuff, is that like we talked about this too, right? Where it's like, one thing that I've always hated a lot, which has like given me a lot of anxiety actually when it came to commentating before. Now my commentary's improved like by so much. But one thing that used to give me a lot of anxiety when going onto the mic was the fact that like if I mess up, I've now screwed the road path, right, to any female going on and doing commentary. Right? And it's like, oh, I'm like the first female to do commentary for Top 8 at CEO. Oh, I'm the first female to do commentary at Top 8 at Evo for like who's also a person of color, right? And it's like, holy shit, like I don't want to ruin this road. Like I don't want to ruin, if I mess up, am I ruining everyone else's chance at doing this? Right? Am I closing the door behind me? And it feels like that, right? And then when I commentated World Finals for Soul Calibur, and I was like, oh my god, when I was doing game announcements for games, right? Anytime I'm ever on the mic or on stage, there is that anxiety to it where it's like, if I screw up, am I closing a door behind me for other women of color? Right? And when it really boiled down to it, I was like, do you know what? if I truly am about equality, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about me doing me. One, because I'm fantastic. Two, because I do a damn good job of it. Three, because I've earned it, right? But also, on top of all those things, right, is understanding that in that time is that if I did mess up, or if someone else messed up, right? For example, like Senpai, she messed up big time, right? Is that it's not because, oh, she's a woman of color,
Right. It's
is that
just
people were like, no, she's a pedo, right? And that's the difference. That's something I was more happy with when it came to addressing her, was that instead of tearing down women on commentary, it was tearing down her as an individual. And that's something I really agree with too, is where it's like, yeah, like don't blame the race, don't blame the gender, blame the individual for what they've done and hold them accountable for their actions.
no, you're right. I mean, yeah, holding anyone accountable just because they need to be accountable is correct. But at the same time, I the only point I'm trying to make about it is like it's kind of, if you know the position that you're in and you've been doing this for tons of times and you've gotten away with this, and there's a difference between what you're doing, as what you're doing, Alicia, like, you don't rage at people, right? You don't go off on people at all.
Yep.
And you're actually a really positive example of like Black excellence and excellence in general. That this is a little different. And Senpai, a completely different situation as well, because she's a pedo. That's it. But this is like, my only thing about it is he's gotten away with this so much, and he does this on a daily, like, and not daily, but like a lot. I think Punk's known for this kind of thing. Great player, but he has a really bad attitude. But my only thing is like, I guess I just think like, be considerate of the role that you have in this community. I mean, you should be considerate of that. There's a lot of Black people who don't have to rage and do all that to get their point across, and they're pros just like you. Don't but we have to be unified in how we carry ourselves. And I guess that's my whole thing. Like, we have to be unified in that, because all it takes is one thing from someone, one thing, and we're set back again. People don't care about that, but they should. We have to think about, like, just as people and how we're representing ourselves, as individuals and our race, because it does matter. And if you know that you're doing this stuff and how toxic that looks, I think you should be aware of it. I do. Like, because just, I think it's kind of a huge problem, and they use that as examples, unfortunately. They use people, Black people specifically, they use us as examples. But, I completely agree with you. I'm just saying kind of what I've seen.
And speaking of all of this, we're going to head into our final topic. We're going to talk about Black Lives Matter still.
Hey! All right. Yeah. Speaking of Black people and Black lives, let's talk about it.
So one thing that, like, we talked about this on the pod. Like, which podcast was it? Which number was it? Oh my god, it's a water bottle. Sorry.
5. I think it was 5.
5? Yeah, we had.
A lot has happened since that time. I truly think. I think the FGC is full of people who do
bullshit.
Support.
It's full of goddamn bullshit.
Bullshit. It was really just, oh my god, I see it on my timeline. Let me talk about it. And now when it's not, nobody turns and looks at all.
It's the most fake shit. And I had higher hopes and was so, and that's the thing, right? It's like, I try to be super like optimistic, and I am sometimes a bit like starry-eyed at stuff, and I hope that things will turn out well. And
I know.
No, people are shit, right? Like, it's like another question reality of what happened, man. Like, I could not believe that the way that people were so quick to drop the entire movement.
Like nothing had ever happened, and companies were just like, "Oh, we support Black Lives Matter." Ain't heard a damn thing from nobody. Speaking of that, and Black Lives Mattering, and there's a way that attention should be brought to Black Lives Mattering. Not when you I want to talk about the Twitch video. You remember that Twitch video that was posted, and it was talking about the Black Lives Matter, like I think it was like charity events and stuff like that, but there were like no black people in it. Remember that?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and then Twitch took it
It
down,
was
right?
charity events. They were just like bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter, and it only had like 3 or 2 black people in it, and the rest were white, and like 4 were Asian. And they were like
Big
just being
awkward.
like, "Oh, we were just trying to show that you have allies."
They say that in the text that introduces the video, but that's not what you're saying. Literally,
No.
they like do you okay anybody okay when it comes to you know, giving this information, obviously you say in the beginning, hey, yeah, you know how Twitch puts the little like tweets and stuff, like or not the tweets, the text that says they introduce what's gonna be talked about a little bit, and then they kind of have like a little highlight, and then boom, we go right to the people. Like, hey, this is with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything. Here's a couple of Twitch streamers that are allies to this movement. Thank you to these people. That's the way you do that, right? But that is not what happened. So, and then there was a black woman on there who was highlighted, and she had like a she was discussing in like a group chat, and she said she's like she's like I was still on the Twitch video, and at least still like and she's like, and the only way people are gonna hear is if like white people are saying it. And I had to say, unfortunately, I said I don't agree. I said I think that there should have been way more black voices put on that video. I get what she's saying, because they're only gonna hear they're not gonna see it as whining if it comes from like white people. I don't agree with it though, personally. I don't.
I think what I would do if I was someone who was consulting on this was I would have been like, okay, who are the largest black influencers?
Right.
All right, cool. Let me grab some of them, right? And then I'm gonna grab 2 or 3 of the top white influencers. That's cool too, right? It's like, if you're gonna really do this based on clout, grab them, right? And it's been a weird scenario, right? Where it's like the percentage out of the top 500 for top content creators on the platform, like barely any are white, under 5% are even women, right? It's like, it's just, you're not going to really find the top percentages being of people of color or people who are in the minority in general. It's mostly white men, right?
Right.
And I understand having white men in the video. I'm not saying I'm against that idea. I'm just saying the majority should still have been your black content creators to convey your point. And the fact is that you have too many strong ones, too many ones with amazing communities, people who are well over 100,000 followers that you could have used instead.
Exactly. They have all the data. Literally, your Twitch.
Yeah.
You
own the platform. How could you not? How do you not have the resource to look it up?
I don't. I think that whole Black Lives Matter thing for them was really just like a very like superficial type of support. They didn't really understand the full problem. Just like when those government officials or whatever had on those kente cloths, but weren't really addressing the real problems. We're talking about fixing a system. We're not talking about you doing something that's just like an aesthetic, like a kente cloth. You don't even know where that comes from. You don't know a thing about that.
I think my biggest issue too was like, why the fuck was Daquan not one of the people featured?
Baby, who's Daquan?
So Daquan is one of the largest Twitch streamers who is also black on this platform. And he is one of the top Fortnite streamers. He has content created forever. He even leaves. This is what inspired me to leave my DMs open. It was he inspired me to leave my DMs open. He'll average, like back when his peak, he would average like 10,000, 15,000 viewers live, right? Like he was killing it. He was killing it. Some streams he'd peak at 40,000, right? And he was killing it on this platform as one of the top content creators. And he would still leave his DMs open, and he would tell people like, hey, if you aren't mentally okay and you need someone to care about you and give a fuck, DM me. Right? I don't care. Like, I'm here for you guys. And like that is something that always stuck out to me, right? As that's what we want. That's who we want. That's who we want to be talked about. That's who we want to be highlighted. This is somebody, TSM Daquan. Yeah.
Got you.
And it's like, is that he is such a goddamn powerhouse as not just a content creator, but as an individual for what this platform should really stand for. But why the fuck was he not highlighted? Why the fuck was he not
Too
highlighted?
powerful.
Why was he never highlighted? That's my question.
Too powerful,
Because
baby.
the fact that like no offense to you, Cuddle, but it's like the fact that you don't know about him just proves even further that they're not showing him off.
But I'm a nobody. I don't know anything about that stuff. That's
the thing though. It's like just being a part of the platform in general, and like and also just seeing shit on Twitter, seeing shit from Twitch themselves, is that we should be exposed to people like him, but we aren't.
That's a very good point. He should be on the front page all the time. I never see him on the front page.
Exactly. That's
okay,
the thing, right?
I see your point, because I'm like, I said, I in my head, I thought more people probably know about him. I'm just like, out of the loop because I'm fighting games. Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't see any black faces barely on the front page, and usually when I do, when it's the music, like the music stuff, usually is when I see more people of color. Usually, even then, I don't. I wish I knew who the guy, but I'm a nobody when it comes to like knowing like mainstream stuff. Or like people on teams, and I know everything when it comes to fighting games. It sucks because I really wish I knew who he was. But now I know, and he's a powerhouse. But Twitch didn't put him in the video,
and it hurts. It honestly hurts because you have somebody who he's so unapologetically black. He talks about everything. He cares about people as individuals, no matter how many people he has watching him. Right? He is such an advocate. He cares so much for people, and it's like, how can you be so sweet while still murking people in games? Right? He's a well-rounded individual, and then. Like that's one thing that I always looked up to him as a content creator when it came to this stuff, because it set such a strong, good example for people, no matter what race you are, no matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter. He set a good ass example for people on this goddamn platform, and still wouldn't be acknowledged to the degree that he should be, even prior to Twitch giving a fuck about Black lives, right? They still didn't give a fuck about him, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
I should know who this man is. That's crazy. But I know who Dr. Disrespect is, and I really don't like him. I don't like the controversy and stuff around him when it comes to like platforms, and he doesn't really do anything that piques my interest. That bathroom thing was weird. Anyway, there's certain streamers, or Ninja even. I don't care about them. I don't connect to them. I don't care. And they don't look like me, and that is something that matters to me. Seeing people that look like me killing it is really important for a lot of us. Representation, right? But they always push those types of figures in the community. I don't see a lot of black figures pushed like that, and it's weird to me. And this man sounds like a highly accomplished man, a gamer, streamer, Twitch partner, everything, right?
And I've also had the weird experience recently too, where it's like, when we talked about this a while back. And now I'm wondering, like, I don't know if any of you guys watched the Pokimane apology video.
I'm sorry, can you... What was this video?
Yeah, so Pokimane apologized for multiple things. But one of the things that was like, I think it was like 10 minutes in or something. I watched the entire video. It was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, so it's like kind of buried in the video. She apologized for saying the N-word. And I guess we just let that shit go. Like, I guess that's cool now. I guess like we're okay with that happening, because let's be real, right? Was that everybody everyone's still super against PewDiePie for what he did, even though he's now donated so much money to literally millions towards Black lives and caring about the cause and pushing towards the movement and openly vocalizing all of his how YouTube has like the different like subscription like format they have. All of his money was going towards Black Lives Matter. Like he doesn't keep anything. He pick a new charity each month, so he keeps none of that revenue that he makes on there, right? So he actually does care, or he has done something after apologizing, even though he made his massive mistake 2 years ago, right?
He said the N-word, and I'll never forget that. I don't care what he does. I'm sorry, but you're a good one, because people are trying to actually change physically, like what he's doing. You're right. Hey, there is redemption there, and I respect you. I'm not that good, but because I would be like, fuck you.
For me, it comes down to like, okay, if you're gonna really screw over this much, how many lives can you redeem to make up for what the fuck you've done? And that's what I care about, is the balance, right? Because if he said that, it goes viral, everyone knows about it, it's gonna some impressionable kids are gonna think it's okay to say that. That's gonna affect other kids' lives. That's gonna fuck up a lot of people, right? That's what happens. That's what makes it unacceptable, right? At the end of the day, not just the fact that they said it, but the fact that they're influenced while saying it.
Yeah.
But on top of all of that is like, okay, now it's been 2 years of him straight putting money in before like we really started coming in hard with the Black Lives Matter movement, like trending officially now, right? Where before that he was still putting in money towards Black lives and Black communities and caring about that stuff. And it's like I still wasn't fully there mentally to like be okay with what he was doing until earlier this year, where I was like, do you know what? Like the amount that he's actually putting in now, I can kind of more deal with. But now I'm wondering is like what like people like Pokey, right? I personally used to watch Pokey mainstream every day. I loved her stream. I liked her content. I thought she was super funny. I just love very like happy people and very loud people because I'm also loud myself.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch her content. And you know, like sometimes I didn't agree with opinions she had or whatever, but she's a person. Like we can't expect everyone to share these
everybody's
ideals.
different, right?
But but knowing she said nigga, never did anything to reprimand it. Never even made an apology about it. She just tried to right?
Because nobody
finally addressed it. She addressed it for the first time now. Right? It's been years since she did it. This is her first time addressing it, and she's never done anything to contribute back. So it's like, why the fuck would I keep supporting her? And that hurts me because she's someone who like
you watched her and you
I watched and I loved and I respected the content creator who is the same age as me, who like is doing so many incredible things on this platform, who's like being literally like the female beacon on this platform, right? Like doing so much, like pushing through, like creating her own brand, putting out scholarships for like for gaming students, things like that, right? Like earth shattering in the esports scene. But right, you said that, and people think that's okay to say now because you said that, and you never apologized for it because you found nothing wrong with saying it.
That's kind of stuff I'm talking about. When people, this stuff has been circulating for years. Those videos of her singing "nigga" has been around a long time. Like and people always resurface them. They always bring them back up because they want justice. It's not okay. And the fact that she didn't bring it up, of course, but because it's rearing its ugly head and because there's a lot of accountability being held now, like because of what's going on, I think that's why she did it, because she doesn't want to lose what she has. Then you should have thought about that when you said that stuff, because then what happens is people start to get this really ignorant mentality that, oh well, if they said it, I can say it, and then they just disrespect the Black race in general. Just all of that. Also, what happened with the FGC, or you know, then the Black people are blamed for why you say nigga, which it's not our fault that you did that, by the way.
Oh my Jesus Christ, we're bringing that back up because we can bring that shit back up again, because my God.
I'm sorry, it's just that kind of stuff. Like, then you deserve, like, if you want to double down and not apologize, like you want to you can't hold yourself accountable, then you deserve what you got. That's it. Like,
that's a real thing, by the way, that happened, by the way, chat, if you didn't know that, was that someone in the community, right, said the N-word multiple times and continuously said the N-word, and then they literally said, I blame Black culture for me saying
it's a whole tweet about it, so you know, you can't miss it. All I'm saying is, like, if you want to respect Black lives and stuff like that, you have to also understand the certain words you can't say. There's certain things about our history you should understand. And that certain things are different. There's certain things you can't do because you aren't Black. Certain things you can't say because you aren't Black. So you need to understand your place in all that, and being able to respect your Black friends, you know, the Black community, and support them in ways that actually are respectful to them and not harmful.
Oh yeah, the Gutex thing. Do you know
that weird thing that he's okay, sorry. Can I also say something? His language was a little confusing to me. So some of his words were very, he's nuts. I didn't know not nuts. I didn't know he was questionable mentally. I didn't know that. I try to say it without not being mean because I don't know him like that. But have you noticed? And I hate to say this because, like, I said this when I was on that Ultra Chen, like, Black Lives Matter, like, podcast. I said I feel like the 2D community is just way harsher sometimes than, like, the 3D one. Like, the things that they say, the things they get away with, like, it's very cutthroat. And I said I don't even feel accepted there. It's because of stuff like that? and also the goo texting. It's just they're another breed. There's a whole other breed of sub going on there. Every little community has their thing. And 2D, I don't know what it is, but there's something going on there. Like the F champ, oh my god, they just be coming out of the woodworks.
They come out of the woodworks.
We don't even like don't get me wrong. Like I said, every community has their thing. I'm not saying the 3D one doesn't, because we got dirty shit too. This whole community got shit. But at least we take a couple,
be different.
Right, like we at least have like a couple, like, at least we have like a couple of like weeks or months between it. But I don't know what that Gutex thing is. I don't know. It's either somebody's racist, sexist, flat earther. I don't know. Like it's something. It's something I don't know. But like, can you explain? What did he say? He said, what did he say? Corona is a myth or some crazy.
These motherfuckers do this.
Can you explain what happened? Because his wording was really confusing to me. It's just a lot of stuff for the 2D community that's happened back to back. Like I mentioned earlier, chat. Like it's just a lot of stuff. Like, so Corona. He was saying Corona doesn't exist and that it's like a hoax. Is that what he said? Oh yeah.
I don't know, but when he took to Reddit, his Reddit post was even weirder. Like I don't know if y'all read the Reddit post.
Can you read it like out loud so I can
process it? You know what? I can probably pull it up.
Well, no, of course the community is way bigger than 3D. The point I'm making is like, that our communities are very different. And it's just funny when I see some of the 2D community all the time, back to back. Like, what was it? First it was FChamp. Then it was LTG. It was like Cereblast, LTG. Like, the stuff was back to back. The FChamp thing, the Mike Z thing, the Gutex thing. I said, what is all of this? Oh, you can post that, F-boy. I was just making a point, but I was also being funny. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that they have. The 3D has it as well, but it's just, I'm like, whoa, at least I get a couple of weeks to like process one thing. But that it feels like everything's back to back. Oh, I forgot my train of thought. There's just a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm like, I made the mistake of searching Gutex and
what did you
Twitter, and now I found it in chat in the Evo elevator. I don't know what I'm. Why do I read? Why do I? I wish I didn't have eyeballs anymore.
What?
Cool. Can someone just take these eyeballs back away from me?
Oh no!
Can I just return them? Can I return them? Can I return my eyes?
Oh no!
Someone, God, I'm looking for his actual post because I want to quote him.
Why could you just some Gutex Arcampa? Why could you just put that? Well, I feel so. I'm sorry.
I'm looking for that goddamn Reddit post. Y'all in chat, y'all got links to this stuff? If y'all got links, go hook us up.
Yeah, because now we seeing too much. I'm guessing because
I'm seeing too much. I'm like,
her eyes are like, oh no, r/eye bleach.
Yeah, it's actually. Some of this should actually curse. I
really appreciate you guys coming and showing up and hanging out with us. By the way, we are deep in this. FGC.
Oh, did I find it? Oh, sorry, I found it.
Oh god. You said some.
Maybe my judgment was off and I was wrong. Well, guys, it's come to this, I guess. I gotta take back what I said to Ernesto Lopez on the Ernesto Lopez show the other day, whether or not the FGC has gotten soft, because it looks like, indeed, it has.
What do you mean? Okay, anyway, continue.
Imagine fucking up and then being like, y'all are soft. Now, it really wasn't that long ago when r/Kappa was a place for shitpost memes, waifus, blow-ups, and all kinds of stuff. It was a wild west out there. But one thing that you could count on r/Kappa was that it was, at the very least, real and raw. I'm not so sure anymore.
What's good, Persia?
I've seen a lot, problematic posts, in quotes.
Problematic? Want to get some examples, my guy? Anyway, continue.
Yep, on here over the years. And to read the comments, some of you, it's just kind of disappointing. I didn't just show up. I may not post, but I have lurked for a long time. And not just in this sub, but all over Reddit. You search the sub for photos of Gutex and Mike Watson from Evo 20 whatever. Who even knows how long ago it was? Both of us were wearing r/Kappa shirts. I thought I was one of you guys. Then you go and do me like that? I see how it is. In all seriousness, I'm actually pretty surprised that most people in here are just so ready and willing and able to accept all of this from the far left. Didn't this place have a reputation for being far right and racist at times? I really thought r/Kappa. I really thought the r/Kappa I used to know would have been a fair amount of people in here that know what's actually going on in the world and can see through this coronavirus, this corona circus. That's the post, man. That's the post. He wrote that shit. He wrote that shit. That's him. Like, he literally was like, oh wait, y'all aren't racist anymore?
So you're saying, why aren't we more racist?
Oh man, I miss back then. I really miss back then.
Oh my god!
I came to this platform for racism, and now you guys aren't providing anymore? Y'all have gotten soft.
So he's pretty much saying he's a racist. All right, gotcha.
Bro, like, he literally...
he said, yo, the FGC is racist. Where's that good old hometown FGC I used to know? The one where we call the black men boys and N-words and all kinds of...
on stage, like...
Right, and we're racist to Hispanic people as well, and every other thing that wasn't a white, straight male, oopsie, that we knew of. Oh my god.
It's so crazy to me that, like, oh my god. Also, how'd you guys like that reading?
That was an amazing read. You should do that again sometime. Let's listen to more things like that. Like, whoa, that was crazy. Whoa, what a... Ooh, man, he said, hey, I like my FGC racist and what did he say? Right-winged, whatever the crap that was. Oh god, he just run
y'all right-wing racist people.
Jesus,
I miss the old FGC.
I hope that the comments really shut this guy down.
Oh man, you know, he got his ass blown up for that shit. He got his ass blown the fuck up. So like, you know, in discussing things like that, this is where I feel like it, you know, this is not canceling. This is literally holding somebody accountable for stating things that are hateful and ignorant. Right, that could be a threat to our community. This is not canceling. This is literally holding somebody accountable, and he's nuts. He's actually insane. Yep.
I mean, I don't know if that's the right word for this, but he's a little much.
He too much.
Ooh, like
I miss my old darn rootin' tootin' FGC motherfuckers cock shotgun.
Right. Get off my lawn kind of looking thing. Like, whoa,
back buddy. The way you came, motherfucker.
Right, go back to Africa. Okay, buddy, all right, because that's literally how we function as a community. That's just proving our point even more that this space is dangerous. How many examples do you need?
That means y'all, we ain't using PogChamp no more, chat. We ain't using Pog. We only use Poggers, okay?
We gonna make our own Pog stuff. Fuck this.
Yeah, we got Alicia Champ. You know, we got substitutes. We don't need to use his face no more. No need to use his face no more.
It's just so. It's literally like the guy. If we're, you know, I use the 3D example, the 3D community example. The guy So Caliber who ran 8-Way Run. And he said that crazy. He's like our Gutex, but less popular.
No, she said he a budget Gutex. He Gutex no clout. The unintentional savagery of that statement was OD.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm like, what's the 3D example of a Gutex? Oh, that guy. You know.
That's actually godlike.
Yes, Four Wings and that man as well. But but you know, sometimes, you know, people just expose themselves. I hope that maybe, you know, all these people who have been having difficulties realize that there's a problem here. You know, that their ignorance is actually what hurts the scene, and that's why we as a community have to isolate those people and ostracize them at times. And I hope that they can either get on board or stay the fuck out, because we don't have room for that. Because yet again, it creates an unsafe space. If we had
someone in chat asked, so no more PogChamps, dude. That's his face. Do you not know that?
Nobody
Wait,
knew. How
do you
many
not
people
realize
knew?
that PogChamp is his face? Like, is that not 2 and 2 equals 4? Y'all can still use Jabate though. Jabali solid.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't realize? You guys just think emotes are random motherfuckers off the street? Like, these are people. These are the
These are
people we're talking.
real ass
Yeah,
people.
and Jabate is Jabali, so y'all can still use Jabate because Jabali's still a real one. So, oh,
Man, I need to
wild.
get a better Pog emote now. Jesus, I
At
can't
least
do this.
turn up. Yeah, the emotes are actually people. Yeah, right. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, like lol is Dan, like Dan's game. Like, there's also Dan's game himself. Yeah,
Oh
that's also an
yeah, I
emote
saw
as
that. I
well.
was like, who is this man?
Yeah, there's literally emote for like everybody from like old school shit
Oh,
from like
you're
who are
right.
Jabate. Yeah, exactly. Man, y'all.
Oh, bull.
That install better Twitch TV and use poggers, okay?
The cute frog
Use the
thing.
Pepe. Learn, motherfuckers, learn.
Alicia, Bull asked, wait, what did I miss? Why is the Pog thing, like the Pog face, bad? So,
It's Goo. I mean, Goo text be wildin'.
because the man's face behind the emote, he said some very off-color stuff and pretty much said, oh, why is, what he said, like, pretty much like, why is FGC not more racist? Or something?
He said, I miss when the FGC wasn't so soft. Weren't you? Didn't this place used to have a reputation for being far right and racist at times? Man, I really thought that I used to know.
So many words that, yeah. So man,
Yeah.
I miss the good old days where we could be good old boys and yeah.
That is like this close to a statement of "Make America Great Again." That's how close.
And he won't, and he know, but he's not. But the thing is, he's not that off. You know, like off because he if he was completely gone, like he would have said it. Yeah, he even cared about his wouldn't even cared about it. You know, but he cares about the money, the his position, right? So he's gonna kind of code words. He's coding them.
What is the article? It's literally his post on Reddit. He wrote the post. It's him. It's not even an article about him. It's just him writing.
What does he want people to agree that we need to go back to being more racist? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, I don't fucking. This is just
This is all from the same people who were. This is from the people who were back in the day. This is what I'm talking about. Like all that old school stuff. Like if you notice that a lot of that resurfacing stuff is from or people coming out with their like opinions, especially when it comes to racism, are like from old school people. A lot of it is people that were never checked before because the FGC didn't have certain things or like social media wasn't as prevalent and stuff like that. So that stuff, nobody was held accountable. Nobody was. And now you see a lot of those older people, they're trying to like say stuff now. Like people are going to be on board with it, but no, the FGC has been evolving so much. Like you can't get away with stuff like that. So like I said, either you're going to get on board and like really understand that what you're saying, it has an effect on this community and that it's ignorant, it's racist or sexist and tons of other things, right? And phobias, all the phobias. If you can't realize that, then, maybe this is not the place for you, baby. Maybe it's not. Because if you have to go out here, you wouldn't even think twice about what you said. You literally came out here and said man, I miss good old days. God damn.
You cared enough to space out your paragraph points. You cared enough to do that. You could have proofread your shit and realized you being stupid.
You know what I really think he was doing? He was doing an "Am I right or am I right?" post. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Because he felt like not enough people defended him. Why would anybody defend that? The community has come so far. Wow, I actually said that. The community has come so far, and it's a good thing. It's healthy. But like Jesus, if you are a part of the problem and you have been a part of the exclusion of people, then maybe there are people who have been better, like PewDiePies and stuff like that, like who realize that they are part of the problem and they affected the lives that they they affected certain lives, and so they tried to do better, and they have. There are those who exist. So either you're gonna be like that and realize, hey, or make public apologies and like actually physically do stuff to better yourself and your space.
And continue, because that's the thing, right? Was that like I thought that maybe he was just gonna do that for a little while. It's been 2 years and he's still doing it. And that's what I care about.
That's consistency. That's consistency. Yeah. So either it's gonna be like that, or you kind of just gonna get lost, like dust in the wind, kind of thing. Because as the scene keeps on changing and evolving, and more faces and more diverse like faces come in, and it's supposed to be this we're really trying to like push for that welcoming environment, as that's happening, there isn't going to be room for the old boys thing. There isn't, and it's already happening. It's already happening, and that's good because we want people to feel safe. We want people to feel welcome. And then you don't want people to feel comfortable coming out of nowhere and saying, "Hey, I miss racism." Jesus, I said, yo, everybody should play some games. Like, I didn't know that. I know it's, geez, I didn't know it bothered you so much that I press buttons and I'm black. I didn't know it bothered you that much.
It's a weird thing. I mean, I had somebody in my local scene, actually. This is like a year ago, maybe, or so, where they didn't even know me. They didn't even meet me, but like they were being kind of rude and obnoxious in my chat, so I banned them, right? So they blew the fuck up in the Toronto Discord because I banned them. I didn't even ban them. I timed them out in my channel. So they blew the fuck up in the Toronto Discord about me, right? Just saying how I'm a bitch, blah, 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 how like I'm super fucking soft and how like all like these like motherfuckers with no backbones and shit about me, right? I was like, cool, first to 10. Right?
Ooh, let's go.
And I was like, run the hands, dude. That's the thing, right? Is that like, cool, you can be bitch made and run your mouth, but run the hands. Like, that's the thing, is I'm all about taking shit old school FGC style. I'm all about first attending a motherfucker for respect. Like, I got the shit to back it up. Fuck you, fight me, right? 101, fuck you, fight me, right? What did he say? Oh, you'd probably beat me in the first attempt. That's not what this is about.
Stop running your mouth.
So I'm like, I fucking hate some of these new bloods, man. These soft ass new bloods trying to say that I'm soft. Meanwhile, you can't first attempt for respect. Like, you don't know. You guys don't know the FGC, man. Like, I hate that shit.
Because they'll be the first ones to run their mouth, but the moment you say, fine, fight me, you think you know something, and then like, no, I don't even want to do that. Or
no, he literally flat out said, like, this is the most bitch made shit. He literally flat out said, oh no, you'd beat me in the first to 10, but that's not what this is about.
I'm sorry, what?
What are you
they
saying? They
forced me to dab. I'm sorry, as the channel point.
And I'm like, come through, show up. Oh yeah, you're all good.
See, that's the point. Like, but you want to call somebody soft? But you ain't soft. Like the fact that you didn't even want to fight. They didn't want to fight you, even though you said, "Hey, let's do it then." You're a coward and you're soft. Then call somebody soft, like.
Oh my god, even Kenny. So Kenny, right, met me like, okay, there's a Kenny in chat, Kenny Ryan.
Oh, yeah, I love Kenny.
He met me in Combo Breaker last year. This is a different there's so many motherfuckers out here who like try to talk that shit to me, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll be like, cool, first to 10 me, money match me. Back it up. Right? Back it the fuck up. And that's the thing, right? The amount of times that I do this shit is insane. And like, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with money matching somebody who doubts me, who's like, you don't know shit about Caliber. Cool. First attend me. That's cool. Run the hands. Like, I know what I'm doing. Right? Like, yeah, I don't play at a professional level. I commentate. Fuck you. Still, I'll still beat your ass. You're random. I don't give a fuck about you. Right? You drowning in pools having ass. Shut your ass up. Right?
O2 looking. Not that there's anything wrong with going O2. Only for this person. We're roasting them because they will.
Yeah. Because they try to act like they're somebody. Like, that's
exactly.
Different.
That's different.
So it's like, no, I know my shit. I know your shit. I know you better than you. Fuck you. Come here. Right? And that's the thing, right? Is that like, Combo Breaker. I had 2 people going into Combo Breaker who shit on me for being like, oh, you don't know Caliber like that. Okay, right? Blah, blah, blah. I could beat your ass. I'm like, cool. It's a 24-hour venue. You let me know when you're there. I will be there. Even if I'm asleep, message me. I will be there. One was like, and I was like, oh no, I didn't even say that. I said, what's the next event you're going to? To the people who try to say this shit to me, who try to talk shit to me in my DMs, right? Because they whisper at me and they try to talk that shit in my DMs. And I'm like, cool. What's the next event you're going to? I'm going to all of them. You name your event. I'll be there. Where are you from? Cool. Run it. I don't give a fuck. Oh, you're not at Combo Breaker at CEO? Cool. I'll see you at CEO. Right? Oh, you didn't show up? Fuck you. Blocked. Right. Instantly. Like, right? Because that's the thing, right? It's like, you back the fuck out like that? Like, no. There's a difference. And it's like, understanding, like, even, that's the thing, right? Is that even if they lost to me the first to 10, I would no longer be pissed with them. Right? If they gotta talk shit like that, right? Because at least they had the guts to run the set with me. And there's a respect to that. There's a respect value to you running the set. Even if I lose the set when we run the set, is that there's an obvious, like, I haven't actually lost a set where I've challenged somebody based on this, like, happening before. I've never lost a respect fight before. Because usually it's motherfuckers who don't know shit about me who question me, right?
And then they go, and then they just run at the mouth. No, for sure. Yeah. Heck yeah.
So it's like, and that's the thing, right, is that, like, at Combo Breaker, I had 2 people, right, who were supposed to beat me at that event purely for that reason. One of them was like, oh, sorry, I couldn't make it anymore. I'm like, fuck you, blocked, right? Second person goes, I'm here. I'm like, great. Where are you? They're like, I'm by the caliber setups. I'm like, bullshit. I'm standing right here. Where are you? Right? And they're like, oh, I had to leave for a bit. I'll be right back. I'm like, cool. I'll be here for the next 2 to 3 hours. Right? They messaged me 4 hours later. I'm still at the fucking venue. I lied. I lied because I knew they were trying to dodge me. Right? So I was like, and they're like, oh, I'm here right now. I'm like, perfect. I am too. And they're like, actually, I don't think I can make it right now, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen,
So
if you're
bullshit.
backing out, say you're backing out. Like, just say it. Like, if you can't show up and you can't put up, just go, right? And they're like, no. I can play you later. I can play you later, right? It's a 24-hour fucking venue. They never messaged me, right? The next day, I'm like, you good? And they're like, oh, sorry, I actually had to dip out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, blocked, fuck you, right? Like,
wow.
that's
See,
it.
and Rich made a point about, like he said, the people that are actually good usually don't run their mouths like that, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And you know, are people who have common sense, right? But they don't, and they usually don't, because they know that anybody is a threat. 1, 2, and that people know their stuff, and that they don't always have to like be pro players to understand, or you know, they can be commentators and understand the game just as deep. You know, like there's a respect there, right? There's a respect. People who run their mouths that much are people that are insecure and could never do that stuff on their own. And they really they want so many reasons to blame somebody else for the reason why they're not successful. You know, when they see a black woman killing it on commentary, and she knows her stuff.
Yep.
And it just makes them so uncomfortable. It just makes them so uncomfortable.
That's the thing, right? Is like my commentary style is color commentary. So I'm not supposed to overanalyze. I'm not like, I drop frame data once in a while. I talk about certain technicalities once in a while. I'll dive into like match analysis and talk things out and be like, yo, this is the thought process they had here. This is why they did this option. That's why it looked really weird in the interaction. He's going for a defensive play. Meanwhile, they both did defensive plays at the same time, so it looks kind of stupid in that scenario, right? They're both trying to go for a hard read. They both fucked up. Like, I'll talk about that stuff, right? I talk about a lot about that kind of stuff. I won't talk about like things like to the next extent because it's not my job. My job description is to back out so I can easily explain things to people in chat. Because when a tournament's going on, right, is that you have people coming in who aren't organic to the scene watching. So it needs to be friendly to those people so that they can make money off the viewership. So it's like, cool, I need to get as many eyes who are comfortable to stay here. I'm going to talk about how these lows popping, booties dropping. He's hitting that wall. Oh my God, is that a ring out? Boy, don't let him grab your toes, right? Like,
I love
we
that
say
kind of
like
stuff.
that. Like stuff to get people hyped so that they don't need to understand every single mechanic, but they can understand what's going on in the game, right? Exactly. That's important. Right? And I'm like, oh my God, daddy gonna pin you against the wall like that, baby girl? Oh my God, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. Oh,
that would make me a little heated, you know. Those kinds of words get me sweaty. I don't think you should mention those on commentary anymore. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself.
Right? And it's like, yeah, but lows popping, booties dropping. That's my token line. That's my token line, right? It's, I love that. Oh, he caught you breathing, boy. And lows popping, booties dropping. Those are my two token things, right? And like that's the problem with like people, is that they see that kind of side of me and they're like, oh, well, she must not know the game and just saying stuff, right? I'm like, no, I clearly got a good like report, but I'm not going to step on my co-commentator's toes when they're supposed to be the analytic one. Like, it's understanding, right? It's like understanding.
and the thing is, they only try and like break it down like that is because they think, oh, you know, she must have been hard on it because she's a woman, and that's like, because it's like, I mean, no. There's tons of men who are color commentators as well, and they don't gotta. They never have to. There's never any sort of validation that, you know, he has to push forward to. No, a woman can do the same thing. And so I love how hyped you are. That's what makes you as a commentator. Like, you're very excited. You're very into it. But when you want to spit them facts, you do. Like, you know, and so I love, just let the salty people from home keep watching. If they want to money match you, don't duck. Don't duck.
It's commentator of color. No, it's a style of commentary. So there's analytic commentary, which talks about the specifics of like moves. They'll talk about frame data in particular. They'll talk about character specific setups, things like that. And then a color commentator is something like what TCC would do, where he can throw that into the mix because he has an understanding for the game.
Like
or myself
splashes of
even, where
color, right? Like splashes
yeah,
of color thrown under your
but
commentary.
they created an atmosphere. They create an atmosphere, right? So the color is supposed to be like the flavor, right? The other person's laying the framework, and you bring in the flavor to it. So it's like, oh my god, popping that soul charge. What's he doing? Why would he make that decision? That's crazy. Getting the +8 frames for no reason at all because he felt like it because he's a pop off king, right? Like, yeah, I'm spitting facts in there. I'm spitting
Like
knowledge in
that.
there, but I'm also explaining why there's flashing colors on the screen. It's understanding the difference between like and like not making sure you don't overstep on someone else's toes, right? If you have two analytic motherfuckers on the mic, it's sometimes like, ugh,
It's very boring. I think
yeah,
it can be very boring if not presented properly. Like, okay, for example, if we have Bloodhawk, for example, Bloodhawk is very analytical. If we have Bloodhawk and like I don't know, Find GM the same, which they would never be, but they would never be on the same thing. I don't think. But no, but you know, like if they both are on the same thing, I think they're actually both very analytical. That would be the most boring thing to watch. But
yep.
having like Bloodhawk and Peep and Pepper Beep is more like, you know, color commentary, and
Yeah,
he's really
Diva's
like
so
fun. He's like,
funny.
yeah, like let's go. And Bloodhawk's more like the analytical one. They really like balance each other out. So you have to have that like apples and cinnamon thing too. I like that, and that's and honestly like question: what's your favorite duo? You and who?
When I'm commentating, my favorite duo would probably be.
I was gonna roast to him. It was just I was saying like he's very analytical, so it can't be analytical plus analytical. It's gotta be analytical plus color. It works. I think it works better that way. He's fine.
I think my favorite one of my favorite duos would probably be KP. Purely because we've worked one so much together, and two, like when we commentate together, like I can go analytic because he's color commentator for Caliber, so I can actually go flex my analytic,
I
which is
like
cool.
that. KP is
So.
really good too. Y'all are perfect. Actually, like that combination, I can see that working really well. I gotta watch some of y'all commentary because that's a really nice duo.
Yeah, it's like if you watch Frosty Faustings from 2020 and watch my commentary with him on that, it flows so well. We do a great job, and like it's very comfortable. It's like probably one of my best commentary segments just because him and I know each other for so long, and we like been commentating together for so long. I think another person who would be another fun commentary duo for me was actually Markman. Once we got into the flow of things, he he's not like overly like knowledgeable about Six,
Right.
but his like foundation and understanding of foreign scenes is something I really respect out of him. Right, is that he knows so much about the history of like old school players, that like because he's been here for longer than I've been alive, right? And it's like that is something that I really appreciate because like I always love talking about people coming onto stage and talking about their backstory, and Markman can really deliver on that when it comes to the Asian community. And I think that's something that I admired about him when we commentated together. He also does a really great job at ramping up to a moment for me to pop off for it. And he understands the flow and pacing really well, which is something I really enjoy. Which is cool because like Mark's not somebody to be a hype commentator or anything. But he'll be like, "Oh, cool! Like you know that was a really sick option." Like he'll be like, extremely chill, but like he leaves like this room and this pacing that's perfectly like timed so that I can do the crazy shit. Which is like why he works well with TC Steve, why he works well with Rip, why he works well with people because he understands when to leave spacing so well, and he's been doing it for so long that you can create really iconic moments with it.
Yeah. No, he's like a chameleon. He's very good at blending and molding to like change with the different commentators that he's with. He's really good at that. No, I think that's a great way to explain how he is because he's not too hype, but he's not too chill. Like it's a nice between. So it compliments the person he's commentating with, and he picks up on their vibe. I like that.
My other like side note person to mention, sorry for like going on about this for a little too long, is that there's one person named Omega XCN in the Caliber scene, and he's a sweet like super nerdy guy, and he's not like by any means like known in the FGC as a whole, but he's known in the Caliber community because he's such a sweetheart and such a great player. But he does a really solid job at analytic commentary, and he lets me go in full hype mode, right? And he like ramps with me. So it'll be like, oh my god, they're doing blah blah blah. Why are they doing blah blah blah? I don't know. Kwong, tell me why they're doing blah blah blah. And he'll be like, Alicia, it doesn't make sense, but it's working. I'm like, but it's working. And we'll like, like kind of freak out and be on the same wavelength constantly. And it's something that like is so beautiful that I love about like people who play the game so much, right? That play the game so much, right? Because I constantly am watching Caliber a lot and making notes. But when you're commentating with somebody who's so invested personally into each match, with you on that same level and you mesh like that and you feel everything for these players, like that's a whole different vibe. And yeah, I just really respect that stuff. I really enjoy that. But yeah, always shout outs to KP because KP, we're both people of color repping on the mic, just being
Real ones.
unapologetically black as hell and repping doing our thing,
I love that. No, I think those are all great people. Like, that you had to talk about, and I'm really glad you did. It's never like, it's never you going over the time. No, please share whatever you want. It gives people insight, into your career. And I think that's really important for people to know about, which we could probably do for another Wokecast, because I think it's really, the insight, the everyday is really important for those who want to be commentators. In this case, like them hearing, the terms, like what you have to do to prepare, like that's all really cool. So thank you for sharing.
I think that was what our next one should be on, honestly. Like, just like a really positive one where we talk about you as a professional player, and we talk about pro commentating. We talk about both on a professional level and what helped us rise to the level that we are at now in our path.
But that will also include a lot of sore spots. So I just gotta let you know right now.
Yeah. Oh my god, the amount of drama it is to get on the mic when going up against white men is like the scariest thing in the world.
So we gotta. I'm just gonna let you know. Disclosing it's gonna be everything, and I know you're okay with that as long as like we cool. Like we can do that.
Yeah. I mean, like if there's something that I don't feel comfortable, I'll always let you know.
Of course, always. But we want to let you all know, just like the a day in the life of us. I mean, us, because we have a lot of pride in what we do. But that doesn't mean it wasn't without its struggles for certain reasons.
Yeah. But but you know what? That's for the next one. And we're gonna be wrapping up this part. So as we are coming to near our conclusion, we always open up a portion to questions from you guys. So for the next 15 minutes, if you guys want to ask questions to Cuddle or myself or both of us, you're more than welcome to ask them in the chat, and we will be discussing them with you guys. As for, is it going to be on the Patreon? The exclusive episode on the Patreon is us talking about literally anything. Our last episode on the Patreon was actually us talking about... we talked about sex toys at one point. It got crazy. I get like ratchet as hell. We don't talk about FGC shit on our exclusive Patreon podcast. That one goes all out. The thing is that you guys get to pick our topics, what we talk about. So like someone brought up like, oh, like how do you guys handle like long distance relationships and stuff? And we're like, sex toys? I don't know what else to explain to you. Like that's the thing, right? Is that like if you want to go sub to the Patreon, go for it. But you guys get to literally pick our topics. And we'll talk about anything. We'll talk about literally anything. We don't care. Like we're all good. Like
I gotta be 100. She right though. Like it was such a fun conversation. Like because we do like we are both in long distance relationships, and it's been a bit harder because of Corona and everything. But the reasons why we make it work. Mine wasn't for sex toys or anything, but I was curious about them in the video.
Yeah, like the whole education about like, oh, you can actually get a vibrator where they can use a cell phone app and like they can get you off from afar because it uses Wi-Fi to your sex toy. It's crazy.
and then I was very interested, and I think I looked it up after that. Anyway, the point being, they're very fun. So if you all want to look kind of more into like the other stuff we talk about, because we're conversationalists. This is my homegirl. She's one of my best friends. Like we talk about everything, Thank you so much also for like making this return back so seamless. and now to the Q&A. We'll do it for like what? How many minutes do we do it for?
Oh yeah, like 15. So y'all can ask questions, and we're good to answer them. So go ahead and shoot them our way.
We can both answer these. Question: any tips for dealing with social media and trash talking? I'm trying to be calmer and let my play speak, but it's hard. So I will say that with dealing with that kind of stuff, sometimes like you have to kind of take breaks from being on Twitter sometimes. Or there's something called a mute button. Use that shit. Because like you have to think about, you'll find yourself more stressed having gone through the whole argument with a person, somebody you don't even know, And sometimes you just state your point and that's it. Like you can state your point to somebody and just, leave it at that. And that's fine too. But sometimes if you don't want to deal with the additional mental stress, sometimes it's better you don't answer or you say what you need to. Keep it moving. Alicia?
Sam. Thanks for subbing to our Patreon. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, I mean, like when it comes to, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Persia. Yeah, when it comes to social media trash talking, I just don't reply to anybody. Unless I feel like being a twerp. Usually what I do is I click on their profile and I'm like, are you are you a troll account or are you worth someone worth talking to? And I'll scroll through their stuff and it's like, oh, they are intentionally saying whack shit just for the sake of getting attention. Cool, I'm not gonna respond to them. Or like, oh, they normally are a normal person and oh, they decided to say something super offbeat. Yeah, sure, dude. Like I'll go in on it. Like that's how I evaluate it. It's like, are they a whack person and do I want to put that time and effort on a whack person? Or is like, oh, they're like a normal person who just happens to have a bad take and needs to be educated. Right? When it comes to someone being just shitty towards me, which I get all the time, I just move on. I don't give a fuck. Listen, I got too many things on my plate. I do too damn much.
And well, by the way, you're a whole like you're fucking G. You know, like you're a whole icon. So like that's beneath you kind of thing, right? And no, I get it. Prioritizing. Does it really matter in what you're doing right now? Like, you know, like in the grander scheme, like you have so much more weight compared to that person. Like, you know, not letting anything phase you kind of thing. I completely feel it. And sometimes there's those days where you're like, fuck you. And then, you know, but like, you know, but most of the time it's like, you know, you are very level-headed when it comes to social media management in regards to responses and stuff. That takes time, chat. Learn from her. Also, like Cuddles, one time she so I was ignoring some stuff that people were saying about me, and Cuddle actually went in on them. She was like, "Excuse you," blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh shit, I don't have time." Like that. She's like, "These motherfuckers in check, dude." I'm sorry, but like people need to understand, like the moment you tell people, like you put them in their place, they are so quiet. Good, stay quiet because you don't know anything. Like, you don't know this woman. Know your place, or else I'll put you in it. That's right, Cuddle. You tell him. Cuddle. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know? Aaron, I want to say thank you so much for subbing to us on Patreon. Welcome, Aaron. Aaron! Thank you so much. Sorry, next question? Let's go. Hold on, I'm reading. How is COVID being handled in Canada? Do you think you guys are closer to being able to have offline locals? We shouldn't. I live in Toronto, so this is a hotspot area. Ontario is actually locked off from the rest of Canada. We're not allowed to travel in or out unless it's like super emergency. So we aren't nearly as bad as the States when it comes to numbers. The states are terrible. Depending. It's so dependent because per capita we're still so trash. But like, I don't know. It's just a very weird scenario. But no, I don't think we're gonna be any close to locals anytime soon. We're doing online locals currently every Monday for Toronto. I don't really enter in them that often. I do them once in a while, but usually I'm really busy on Mondays because Mondays I spend working on content creation, so I don't really get a chance to always join them. But if I take a break from content creation at night, I'll join them. So. How do you guys feel about the Leafy is Here YouTube getting terminated? Do you know about that or no? I heard it was about something about stalking, but I wasn't sure what it was. What happened? Okay, so Leafy is a YouTuber who like he's super problematic, and his whole thing on this platform was like, I guess you know who Keemstar is, right? Yes. Okay, yeah. So like with Drama Alert and Keemstar, like he's meant to be outrageous, meant to have hot takes. Leafy does a similar style of video where he just roasts the crap out of people and just bullies them to high hell for years, while playing a game as footage plays. Like he'll just be playing a game while like he does like a voiceover explaining the whole scenario. Okay. He left YouTube for like a solid almost year or two, and then he came back. And the climate's changed, you know, like we talked about this, where the climate's changed a lot on these platforms. Like, for example, the FGC, even the climate's changed here, right? Where now things are a lot more like, I wouldn't say soft. We just don't tolerate bullshit anymore. Exactly. And it's like he wanted to get banned. Like, you don't go after Pokimane. Like, right? Like, that's like like, come on. Like, you know what her fans are like.
Why would
They'll
you
destroy you.
Wait, like, he got his account banned. His account's now done with YouTube. Like, he can't make YouTube content anymore. I'm like, you went after Pokimane, dude. What did you expect? And not just one video. He did it multiple videos in a row. He made 3 videos in a row. Of course you're gonna get shit on. That's on you. That's on you. Like,
Get banned. Get banned. See, I'm sorry. Like, ugh, dude, you try to be edgy. Fuck on my face. Okay.
You're asking us how we feel about. I mean, I've always never I never liked his content. I always thought it was super whack.
Now that she explains it, I also think it is quite whack.
Yeah, it should have been banned a while back. I mean, there's like, I understand the whole thing about drama YouTubers and shit, but you know,
it gets out of hand. It gets out of hand.
It's against their TOS. I don't understand why drama YouTubers even allowed, because technically they aren't critiquing a scenario. They're actually just creating a bullying scenario. Because critiquing something is different than. That's the thing, is like, I like if you watch content creators like Noel Miller, Cody Ko, they do make fun of people, but it's a critique, and you can understand their comedy critiquing versus someone who's bullying somebody, and there's a line, and people go over the line. Yeah, like, people go over the line to be edgy, just for the sake of being edgy. Is like, you don't understand what real humor is. You just think that's what gets you the kids clicks, because the kids want to be edgy because they don't understand what social scenarios are yet.
Good point.
All right, you can take the next question. That's all you. Oh. I don't know what it is, but
I'm trying to be young Scar. I'm trying to be older Scar. Got you. Okay. Hi. Okay. Bull says, I know it's about woke stuff, but when people put Akuma in S tier, they cite execution is not in play. But when they place Kazuya in B, with the logic being the execution is hard, what are your thoughts? I think you know what I'm alluding to. I just want the logic to be consistent, that's all. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. Let's talk about it. Okay. So, in my opinion, Akuma and Kazuya, it's not about execution. A character being strong has nothing to do with execution. Mm-hmm. What we're talking about here is how Akuma doesn't have to play Tekken to be strong. You know, like, that's the whole thing. Like, the 10-frame jab, punish, launch stuff, and meter, like, his comeback potential, his combo damage, like, is all very scary. He doesn't have to play Tekken a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. He's always kind of in control. His momentum is insane. It has nothing to do with his execution. And for Kazuya, the thing is, he risks a lot more. Mashimas have to do a wave dash. Wave dashes are risky. You know, I can easily do a mid to float him out of stuff. Like, I don't think he should have been in B. Kazuya is not B. In my opinion, Kazuya is A. But if we're talking about, like, the down 4-2 in the PWGF, like, his 13 frame punish, his 12 frame punishes, like, the fact, his options that he has now, like, those additions, like the down back 2 is really scary. The wave dash and down back 2, like his options, his offensive options are really scary. Something that some of the other Mashimas lack. So yeah, for me personally, it has nothing to do with the execution. It's honestly about Akuma, the traits that I stated earlier in regards to strengths, and even if Kazuya had, even if Kazuya was a little higher up, he would still have to do more than Akuma. Execution is something for Akuma, but, like, it's the fact that what he gets is so insane. Kazuya does some of that stuff, and he still doesn't get the same amount of damage. So that's what I'm talking about. That's all. Anyway. Okay, next question. Next question. It's called those. I just got signed to Mazer Gaming. How did it feel when you got signed for the first time? Let's talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
You said, time. It was a controversial thing, because it got signed back when many people weren't getting signed. And I had one person in particular get his whole community to come after me and tell me to kill myself repeatedly. So I don't know.
Why don't we just say the name? Because, I mean, at this point, it's like, that dude already... No, you don't want to? Okay.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I just hate giving him more recognition than he deserves, because he's already a nobody now, but...
All right.
Yeah, Sasha De Silva.
TH3_M3_D3 has just donated $20. I haven't done this in a while.
Thank you. Don't worry, I got you on that.
I'm sorry, I heard that. Did you?
Thank you. It was a donation. It's I did the voice to
it reads aloud. That threw me off.
It's pretty hot. Isn't it? It's a new feature on the channel.
I read it aloud in my thing, and I'm like, I'm not even listening to the stream. How did it play? Like, I heard it. I don't know how I heard it. I think I heard it through you. I don't. Okay, whatever. That's why I got so startled. I was like, "Why do I hear that?" Like,
it's because we're sharing. I'm sharing my screen. Remember? So you can hear.
Yeah, but I have that muted. Like, this is a weird. Anyways, you know what? This is cool. We're gonna.
The point being, thank you so much. Well, oh, that's weird. Wow, I have to. Do I have a speaker? I don't know. It's creepy. Thank you so much for the donation.
So yeah, basically, when it came to like me getting signed, it was like some people got mad that I got signed, and they were like, "You don't deserve it. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're not even good. Like, just anything and everything they could throw at me, they just like did." And it was super tough. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that it was during a time where, like, it was back in like 2017 when I got signed, or 20 around there, right? So it's like, yeah, it was like back when people weren't getting signed yet. You know, like there's only like a few people who were signed, and I was one of the few people. So it's like it was way different than like now, where there's just a bunch of organizations and a bunch of ones that are starting up mom and pop shops and stuff, right? So like people are getting picked up constantly, so people don't care as much when it comes to this stuff. But nah, like it was such a shit show, man. It was such a shit show. Like I wanted to be happy for myself, but it was so hard when I was getting like a hive mind mentality against me from like almost an entire country, because all of because he has like the German scene like hating me. It was weird. I don't know. And anyways, at least Seffi and Mihawk were always like super sweet towards me, so it was fine. But like the rest of them were just like going like insane. Like people who were nice to me before, but like because of him turned sour against me because they were like, she doesn't deserve it. She only gets it because she has a pussy. Literally what they said in my chat, by the way. I was like, cool. All right, this is the scene, you know. But that was my experience when I first got signed. How about you, Cuddle?
Well, you know, it was kind of just when I first got signed. It was very casual, you know? It was more like a family, but we didn't have everything that Equinox has, but we were all very close. So the first time I actually got signed ever to a team, it was definitely like, this was before Equinox, by the way, is In the Skies, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was cool, but, it was actually very low key for me. So the second time when I got signed to an actual like pro team, it meant a lot more to me because because it was very businessy. Because when it's family oriented ish, stuff can happen, drama can happen. So it becomes less about the business, and then there's a lot too much personal stuff going on. So when I actually got signed to Equinox, that for me felt like the first time. Like I'm getting. Yeah, as like, you know, they see me do what I do, you know, and because of them, I was given the chance to prove even more of myself because of their resources.
Exactly.
2 years ago. But yeah, that. Can we talk about how most folks wouldn't deal with Black Lives Matter / racism issues if it wasn't profitable? Or am I alone in thinking that Black death is profitable? It's not just monetary thing when I mean profit. That's a good question. Whew. All right. You want to start with that one, champ? I know you started it again, but I want you to.
I was catching up with chat. What was that? Sorry, I missed that. What was the question?
Can we talk about how most folks wouldn't deal with Black Lives Matter / racism issues if it wasn't profitable? Or am I alone in thinking that Black death is profitable? It's not just monetary thing when I mean profit. That's the question from Probable Cause.
I mean, do you mean companies? Are you talking about companies in relation to this? Or are you talking about content creators? I need to know a bit more about your context of that question. You know, because if you're saying like, oh, like people who are using it in order to gain clout, to gain recognition for higher viewerships, for higher payout yields, then yeah, fuck those people, because now they don't give a shit about it anymore. And that was the first part of this conversation. Yeah. So you missed the first part of the Black Lives Matter portion of this podcast that we talked about that. So we did actually go into that. So if you decide to go back later on and listen to that part, we do address that.
Okay, let's go to the next part. Hi, everyone. Okay, do you feel people can reform from being banned and can get an opportunity to come back?
Depends what they did. That's a very case-by-case scenario. That's right. Like, You know how Cuddle and I stand about racial shit. If you said some racist shit, you're not coming back. We don't want you back. I don't know, if you let a titty hang out by accident,
Like, that's different. It's a
back, you're
titty.
fine. Like, it's a titty. Like, we all got something on our testicles. Like,
A titty
whether they
doesn't
be
oppress
boobies or
anybody. A titty literally does not oppress a damn person.
yeah,
But
let's
words
show
and actions do. Words and actions do.
yeah.
All the time.
Well, you know, that's what I think. That's yep. All right, next one.
Oh, hi swag. All these assholes talking. Yoshi, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community. Thank you. All these assholes talking mad shit to homegirls because they're homegirls would be great motivation to kick their asses. They know they don't want that smoke, so that's why they run at the majors, if they even bother to show up. Kenny was just making stating a point, which I do agree with. Have you guys ever beaten someone to the point where they just quit the FGC?
Ha! Yep.
I don't think I have. Everybody just says, "Wow, so motivated after she beat me," and I'm like, God, that's it. Like, I don't. That's it. But no, it was very sweet. Thank you again, Yoshi. Thank you for supporting.
I think it's different. You know what I'm saying? Because like for you, it's like, it's, oh, she's a pro player and she beat me, right? For me, it's just like, I'm a commentator who fucks around on like 30 different games. So when I beat your ass that bad, it's like, ah, depression. Like,
right, so it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck am I even on? Alicia hasn't played this game in like 3 weeks. Like,
and you still scraped him. But that's because you just what you're doing. Oh, the commentator option select. Ah! So that's
I didn't know this.
So like that's a thing. I didn't know. I had no idea. Shout out to both of you ladies. Love you and stay woke. Much appreciated. Who doesn't like titties? Oh, sweet Jesus. I need some water.
He said titties.
Yo, I'm just shout out to the titties. Stupid question.
This sounds like our second podcast every month. So it sounds like right now.
Oh
we're just talking about titties now. Oh my God.
Titties?
On the main.
Another question was, if it says stupid question to preface it. If given the chance, do you take out Hitler?
How much cocaine? How fucked is this person's brain right now? You good? Where are they? Who hurt you?
Affecting history. So something I have on my channel is called it's called Let's Compliment. So you compliment people, you redeem a certain amount of points, and I compliment them. And then there's also Let's Roast. Jolter was like, hey, Alicia, can you do a Let's Compliment about Jolter?
Oh, yeah?
So
okay.
you give
okay.
a comment. There's a little something. There's a little splurge, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. You're a very good bean. I appreciate you. You're doing good work. You're practicing a lot in Tekken, and your proven's paying off. And I'm glad you're taking a lot of good advice from Cuddle Stream. That's good stuff. Jolter was telling me that the other day in my chat, was saying that they're learning a lot from your stream and learning a lot about like getting better at like solid fundamental Tekken, which is good on them. So glad to hear you're improving.
Hey, big bet. Yeah, that's just something we do on here. And now, if anybody redeems Let's Roast, go in. It's so funny. But but yeah, and I think we'll take the last one, which is a message. Kenny did a Black Lives Matter interview with a feminist YouTuber named Topless Topics. So there's my contribution to the titty discussion. I actually watched it. It was really good. It's really well done. But yeah, legit. Thank you, everyone. I think that's actually wraps it up because it's 9:20. Yep. Jesus, hold on. Let me look at how long we ran because we
2 hours 26 minutes for our actual podcast itself.
Damn, you're good. Because I'm very behind. I don't have anything that.
The question, like we wrapped up the main part of the podcast at like 2 hours and 3 minutes. So,
well, we're trying a new like flow here.
Yeah. So what we're doing for the podcast now, fun fact for you guys for when this gets posted onto Cuddlecore's YouTube, is that it's going to be split up into different sections, which is why each one's highlighted underneath. So each section will be more bite-sized for you guys to watch. So it'll be like 30-minute segments or 20-minute segments versus it being like the full 3-hour watch that it used to be.
Yeah, because it's a lot for everybody to take in, and it's a lot for us too, by the way. Yeah, this was a great idea, and I'm the layout is just perfect. Thank you so much, Alicia, for doing this. But yeah, we're back, and
We're back.
we will be doing that addition that bonus episode for our subs. We just got to talk about when. It's very funny.
Yep. And if you are sub to our Patreon, or if you're new to our Patreon, make sure that you have it linked to your Discord so you can join the exclusive Patreon Discord. That's where you can actually pick which topics we talk about. You can literally pick anything under the sun. It doesn't have to be just FGC related. FGC stuff's for this main podcast. The other one's more of our bullshit and having fun one, where we even talk about shows and stuff we've seen on Netflix. We'll always give you guys like the pre. We'll be like, this is your homework, watch this, so that way our next next one we'll talk about it before we, like, instead of spoiling stuff for you guys. Like, we care about you as people, so
Yes.
make sure you check out our Patreon, sub to it. It's only $5, but hey, like, at the same time you get this one free one per month anyways. No matter what, y'all gotta pay for this ish. You just gotta come here and love us, okay?
Thanks again. Thanks
again, y'all.
This was amazing. Are you gonna be streaming?
I am. I'm doing my VTuber thing today. I finally finished it.
Y'all gotta check that out. It's a really cool feature that Alicia has. She's been working on it mad hard on her stream. So I'll wait and hound your channel, and then I'll send them over to you. How about that?
That sounds perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I need time to set it up because I took forever to program it. Cool. Later, my dude.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
Thanks again.
No problem. Thank you.
It's a good return episode.
Yeah.
I loved it.